Don't forget, heads, you can tune in to the Beard Speaks audio podcast every Monday, Friday, and every weekend on a variety of platforms, including Apple Podcast, Google Play, Spotify, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Radio Public, Stitcher, and more. Hashtag Beard Speaks is the name, and if you can't find it on your favorite platform, you can always find it on anchor.fm/beasthostbeard. Like, favorite, subscribe, and leave a positive review for your motherfucking boy. Bobby's Buds. With legalization sweeping the nation, it's important to know where and who your cannabis products are coming from. With Bobby's Buds, he's putting his damn name right on it. Originator of the Faygo-flavored cannabis concentrate cartridge, highly sought after, truly trusted, powerfully potent cannabis products. Bobby's Buds. He's the plug's plug. Hit him up on Instagram at BobbyTheBarber1. Catch Bobby's Buds and 656 Records this September as they host the most exciting cannabis and hip-hop lifestyle festival in the Northeast, 656 Fest. Visit 656fest.com for more information. What up, heads? You know what it is. You know what it does. My name is Chuck Reeves. I am the East Coast Beast host. And this is that show that everybody loves to hate. It's the motherfucking Beard Speaks. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Salute to everybody, whether you're tuned into this via your ear holes in the listening form only, or whether you're watching this with both your ears and your eyes on the YouTube. Salute to everybody, the Patreons, the haters, the people tuned in every week regardless. We got another fantastic, albeit long as fuck episode of The Beard. Make sure you're following me on Facebook. It's the Great Beard Social Media Purge of 2019. Facebook's all I got. So make sure you're following me over there at Beast Host Beard. If you want to see any extra type beard stuff as it goes up, make sure you're going over to patreon.com/beasthostbeard. Make sure you're following me, subscribe on YouTube, and make sure that you are subscribed on one of the over a dozen audio platforms by which you can make sure you don't miss a minute of beard content. I said today's a long show. Guesting today is my good friend Mike Nelson. You might know him as Prop Mike, or you might not know him at all. But if you are a fan of the Ghostbusters or Twiztid and their live stage show, you are definitely a fan of this man's work. He came by the headquarters live to talk about all things professional prop making. This is the man who's responsible for the Attack of the Ninjas Mirror set, for the Freak Show set, for the this set and this thing and that thing that you've seen in some of your favorite underground music videos. He's also quite the aficionado of all things Ghostbusters. It was my pleasure to have him in the spot here to burn shit down, and we had a great, interesting, do-it-yourself style conversation right here in the headquarters. So, without further fucking ado from me, it's episode 215 of the dumb shit. You made that? AKA Karnivorous Creations in you. The Beard Speaks now.
Oh, come on, he's a miserable cocksucker fucking asshole. You hate him, admit it.
So how's it been, my dude?
Ah, dude, it's awesome, brother. Glad to be here, you know?
I know, we are here in the headquarters. You've never been here.
No.
I feel like I'm getting more and more cool visitors to this motherfucker, though, as the weeks go by. It definitely, considering where I'm at, I don't think anybody would come here.
Right.
But then, like, people do. And it's like, oh, great. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I was more surprised. I don't think anybody was more surprised by, like, Trilogy being here than I was. If that makes sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? I think I've gotten lucky with, like, people like you and Trilogy, like, coming through town. Like,
yeah,
I
an
love
honor
the
to be
fact
here.
that Worcester is like a hub. It's like a hub of undergroundish type activity, and it fucking helps out.
Spark that up.
So I ran into you 3 weeks ago, at this point probably, in fucking Sterling Heights at the con. How was the con for you? Because you were different this year.
Yeah.
The first year you had a booth, you were running a major raffle
Yeah.
for one of those Zool Ghostbusters dog heads.
Yeah.
I cannot forget that.
Had
And,
a lot of people get tickets for that.
Yeah, who won? Did somebody end up getting it shipped or?
My Pete won. Yeah. Pete won that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you had to truck it all the way home, though.
That's a big, heavy fucking piece of memorabilia and like a big ass collector's thing for fucking sure.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, I've sold so many of those damn things. Found that on eBay, and, you know, it was an awesome purchase. I think I paid like $1,600 for it.
Because, yeah, I was going to say, I've seen the one that you made for George. I think that was the first one I saw. And then George has a bunch of crazy shit in the fucking office.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I guess if I had my own building, I'd have a bunch of crazy
Got the
shit in that,
gremlins.
too. Yeah. Like, so, yeah, I saw that one. But the con was different for you, obviously, this year. You didn't have a booth, but you said you still sold a bunch of shit. So what did you have, like, orders come in prior to?
No, I had some stuff, and Tom G was, you know, I knew he had a booth, and he was just like, hey, if you want to sell your stuff, you know, right here. I mean, I had some ooze canisters, and I had some light up Ghostbuster keychain rings that my electronics guy in Greece made. He just like custom idea. Like, I guess they got these light up keychains all over out there, and you know, people are, you know, using them. So he's like, hey, we can make this Ghostbuster proton pack, and we sold a ton of them, dude.
Oh yeah, I bet,
Yeah.
man. Like the cosplay thing has blown up in years, and these really professional grade props. If people can save themselves the 400 hours that they're gonna need to make that shit at home,
Yep.
if they can just pay you to do it, they'd fucking much rather. Some of them would. I do know a lot of the cosplayers are really of that DIY variety, but you're not. It's not mass produced. No. When you're making something like one of those proton packs or the E-meter or those TGRI fucking ooze canisters, you're making a set number and you let people know ahead of time. Like, look, if you want one, you better get that shit now because there's only 10. I don't understand. Occasionally you post to me what looks to just be a piece of metal. Mm-hmm. And it's a bracket for something that you can't fucking get anywhere else in the world for something. Mm-hmm. Like, how does that sort of shit come about? Like, well, I forget what it was in particular even, but there was something that was a bracket for something. Oh, it was a bracket for the fucking ooze gun.
Oh, yes, yeah. For the slime.
For the slime blower. Yeah, for the slime blower. Yeah. So, like, you have a slime blower that people build and that people purchase and people use. They had one at the con this year.
They're very difficult to build. They're all 100% aluminum. Like, so finding, like, people to make certain parts, like a cone that I had produced, like, we had to have a process called spinning. So just take a flat piece of aluminum and it spins and you have a master buck behind it in the shape of what you want. And they just form it right around it, you know, and I mean, as long as it's got like a V shape, it can easily come right off, and that was.
But there was like a bracket that you were selling, and you were like, Lulu, I got 8 of these fucking things, and when they're gone, they're gone. Don't ever ask for them again. Like it just seemed like, oh, so there's an extra part that makes this thing even more legitimate that not everybody has, kind of shit.
Well, when I do it, I was doing it because I got a run of fully built ones going, so I'd order a few extra, and I knew people would want them. So I was just like, all right, here's a few extra. You know, I'm not going to do another run until I do another run of fully built, and then I'll order a few more. Right. You know, the market's there for the slime blower, but it's more there for the proton pack. So
see, that's what
you're going to sell more.
Is having a proton pack was always something we used to think about as kids, and then they had the toys, but the toys were always, you know, very bad fucking facsimiles. And what you're building, and I mean, not just in terms of the Ghostbusters stuff. Because, like, we talked before a little bit about that being the bulk of a lot of your business. But just the stuff you build overall. It's like, that's all stuff that as a kid, it's like, damn, I wish I could have got my hands on something that was that legitimate and had that much thought into it as far as the canon. It goes back to, in my brain, to, like, they used to have the Star Trek schematic books.
Okay.
So, like, if you really wanted to try to build the Starship Enterprise, they had the blueprints for it. Someone put some fucking thought and energy into all that shit because it all has to work and it all has to look legitimate. That's the way I feel when I look at the stuff you produced. It's like, this is someone who looked at the originals or whatever was there to look at, pictures, you know,
pretty much pictures,
production notes, fucking behind the scenes featurettes, fucking artist renderings, video game. You know, you look at all that stuff, and then you're like, all right, clearly I can't throw ropes of nuclear energy down the fucking alley, but we can do everything else.
Right.
We can get the noises, we can get the buzzes, we can get the, you know, the bells and whistles and the fucking lights, and that is selling it to groups of these people who are going out every weekend.
We also got an e-cig kit that shoots smoke out of it too.
Oh,
so I mean, so you got the lights, you got the sound, and then you got the smoke. I mean, come on.
All right.
And sometimes if you put like one of the flavored e-cig juices in, a lot of people want to do the marshmallow scent just to add to it.
Are you talking about the trap?
No, I'm talking about the proton pack. In the video game, they had the it would overheat when you were shooting the ghost. You know, that was part of like the reason.
Fake overheats.
Yeah, fake overheat.
That's ridiculous. Yeah,
and it expels the smoke when it goes into overheat mode.
Killing it.
And so that's just, you know, a little extra selling feature. You know, people love that.
So I mean, so you do the proton packs, obviously. You do the slime throwers, obviously. The TGRI cans, which are from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. If the heads don't understand what we're talking about when we're talking about ooze canisters.
Ninja Turtles 2.
Ninja Turtles 2, specifically. But that's something that exists in all the canon.
Oh, yeah.
The ooze container with the 2 metal caps, and the broken one. You even had a broken one.
I did do the broken. That's tough, let me tell you.
The broken one's mad custom because it needs to fit like 2 jigsaw pieces, just like it did in the fucking movie and everything. And that's literally for one cosplay.
I had to cut that with a handsaw.
With a shredder cosplay and that broken thing, you're setting it off. Like you're just setting off. You do those. What's the biggest scale item that you've done? Has it been something for Twiztid? Because that's kind of how I
probably have to say,
first.
The biggest scale thing I've done was the crypt.
For Blaze.
No, for Twiztid at the autograph booth.
So for the con appearances.
Yeah.
Okay, so the one that you saw at Rock and Shock.
10 foot wide by 20 feet long. It's huge.
Days of the Dead.
We modify it down to 10 by 10 for that.
Yeah, there were a few places that they fucking used it. Rock and Shock, I remember
we
being
had
the first place I saw it.
We had it at the very first Freak Show 25th anniversary tour. Was it 25th or 20th? I think it's 20th anniversary. And when we did the Electric Factory. I was a little nervous about it on stage, tell you the truth, but we got it up there. That's an all metal stage, so it really shakes when you're up there. And so with the way I had to set it, I was worried about it. George wanted, he's like, can we add this on? It was so last minute, and I'm like, yeah, all right. I was just planning on being at the show, just to go.
I mean, you're obviously a fan.
Oh yeah,
like,
totally.
And you were a fan first.
Yeah.
How did you go from being a fan to being a contributor? Because you were clearly making stuff before you made stuff for Twiztid.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, I used to live in Philly, and I'd do my whole yard up for Halloween, and I'd, get in a newspaper for it. Like, take my whole driveway and just turn it into a graveyard, and I had a guillotine that squirted blood out of neck,
You're one of these people we hear about they call the cops on.
Oh, yeah, for real, dude.
There wasn't really a dude hanging in his yard. It was a goof.
We had an electric chair guy, and that worked off a drill, dude, and the whole body shook and everything. Someone stole it. Got it back though.
All right. So you're making stuff clearly. It's for yourself, but I'm sure you're selling some stuff.
Yeah, I started selling the proton packs. I want to say actually in 2009. So I was starting to mess around with that, but I always had this knack for building things, and doing the Halloween stuff. And so it was during the Abomination tour, first leg, I met George, and I was out there, handing my business card out, because I told people for years I wanted to do this. I wanted to build those sets. I stood in the crowd and I was just mesmerized. The set always helped.
Some of those sets I remember like being mind blown, like just being fucking mind blown, especially in the early days. Shit like the Big Top tour, whatever it was, in '97, like the Malenko tour. I think even that stage setup was like, and even now they're killing it to some degree. The fucking toy boxes they came out in.
Oh yeah,
it's got shades of fucking NSYNC and Backstreet Boys to it a little bit, but you know what? It's fine. You get away with that because that's super dope.
Yeah, well, it's theatrical, and I love theatrical, and it's just really cool to be a part of.
Did you have any background? Like, did you? Like in high school, build sets? Did you?
Nope. In high school, I went to trade school, and I took like carpentry for a bit, and I was in welding for a while. I kind of bounced around, electrical, and so I learned a lot of different things that way. And just then after that, it was just learning it myself, just hands on. I'm self-taught in everything that I do. Like, I never went to school specifically for everything that I do, and I'm constantly learning.
Yeah, because I mean, you kind of got to be that jack of all trades.
Totally.
And in some degree with what you do, you don't know what you're going to have to pre-know.
Right.
Until that artist comes to you with the, look, man, I want to come up out the stage on a rotating star, but I don't want enough smoke so nobody sees me till I'm all the way out. Yeah. And then I want it to make me jump 9 feet in the air. Like, you know what I mean?
Dude, and that's all the time.
Yeah, you won't know what you need to know until they present you with that problem that you don't have the solution for. And I know you the type of motherfucker to be like, solution, I'm coming for you. I don't care how much Googling I gotta do, how many people I gotta talk to. We gonna get this done because it's gonna be fucking awesome.
Oh man, I recall thinking that when I did the Most Tasteless set for the 20th anniversary, and George, you know, he hits me up. He's like, all right, so I want the logo, and I want it to spin behind the faces. I want the eyes to light up, and I want smoke to come out it. And I'm like, all right, now that's going to be tough. Like, because if, you know, I've put the axis in the middle, make the thing spin, how are the faces not going to spin?
Yeah,
how do
I gotta have something?
And how do I get the wires? And so I had to figure out this device that I came up with, and it actually made it a lot easier for touring. Because that's the other thing, you got all these venue sizes, you know, and the venues change by different places, so we have to build it to get in. Not all of them got double doors,
and you got to be able to. You build these things so they're multiple pieces.
Yeah,
so the pieces are at least 2-man carries.
Sometimes, yeah.
Like for the most part, you don't want something that's a fucking 6-man carry because you know on the road they might not have 6 dudes.
Right.
So if you make each of the pieces a 2-man carry, you know, you keeping that. When someone builds, for example, the set of Titanic, when James Cameron went to his production designers, he was like, "Look, I got a building. Build a boat in it." Okay, we're going to look at exactly what the fucking boat looked like, and we are going to build the boat. And we know the boat ain't going to move.
Right.
It's just going to be in this building. And then when we're done with it, we're going to take that bitch down. You know that you're being asked to build something. You're not just being asked to build something. You're being asked to build something that's going to be tore down 40 times in 40 days.
It's like a carnival, dude.
And driven from place to place in the back of a fucking truck. And like they're going to care for it as well as you can on the road, but we all know that you can't coddle nothing when you travel in several thousand miles. So is that something like when you have a design that you just, that's what comes first, aesthetics or functionality for you? Because I mean, both coming out.
I try very hard for both, you know, trying to get what they want and how it has to come apart and how it all has to function in that way. Try to make it the least amount of pieces so that, straight on that, I'm high. Oof.
Oh, we gonna get higher.
Oh yeah, that's fine. We'll get higher.
We're sitting in this room. It's called the headquarters for a reason.
Oh shit. Well, I try to incorporate as much as I can, you know, from what they originally wanted, and Jesus.
I'm dying. I muted the mic, so that wasn't.
What were we? Oh my god. Yeah. Oh man.
All right. So, yeah, functionality, aesthetically pleasing. I know that for some stuff you don't have a choice. I can assume that the GameCube is one of those things where it's like, fuck, how do I make this single board?
I had a week to build that.
So is that thing multiple pieces?
It was multiple pieces because I had to get it there. The director kind of wanted it all in one piece for me to bring it there in one piece, but I'm like 8 feet wide, 8 feet tall. Like, no, that ain't happening. There's no way. I need a flatbed.
Who directed that, Roy?
No, not Roy. Oh Jesus,
wasn't it one of those
no,
guys?
I know who it is too, and I can't think of his name.
Ray? No,
it wasn't Ray. Jesus. He's direct. He's done a few things with them too.
All right. So
he hits me up. He wants that, and he's he wants it to have a certain look. He's like, I don't want no seams. I'm thinking, oh geez, I got a week to do this. Like, the way I would go about doing something, I try to do it as pro as I can. But then you got to think too. It's like, all right, it's a music video. It's not going anywhere. It's just being used for this one thing, so we can get away with some fudging on this. Yeah. And so. we worked it out to where we could do what we needed to do to build it. And, I also got a part in the video, too. I was a priest.
Yeah. See, we call those the perks.
Yeah.
The quote-unquote perks of the job. You're handing your business cards out.
Yeah.
You're at the Abominations tour. And did George call you about something in particular?
Oh, he came out of the bus at one point.
Okay.
And, and so I'm talking to him, and then it was about like 2 weeks before they announced they were leaving Psychopathic. So, like, the timing of all of this.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
the timing of all of this was like, on my part, I guess, was really good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the stars aligned.
It wasn't even intentional. It was just type of thing where...
And meeting George, and not just saying the right things, you know what I'm saying?
Having the right skill set.
Yeah.
Because, that was something I always said about what I do. It's like, people meet a million rappers nowadays.
Right.
But how many people do you have coming up to you saying, "Oh, I'm a host"?
Yeah.
Nobody. How many people you got coming up to you saying, I make props for movies, videos, and live tour state? Nobody does that. Like, I get excited when I meet somebody. Like, I hate to call them normies, but to some degree, some of my normie friends. Oh, like, I met Post Malone. That don't mean shit to me, really. Mm-hmm. But for some fucking person who just knows Post Malone is the guy from the radio, that's a huge deal. And I'm like, I'm far more interested. Like, one of the heads out there, I met him at Attack of the Ninjas. Yeah. He's a Zamboni driver.
Really?
For like one of the biggest college hockey programs in the nation. That, to me, is way more fucking interesting than what Post Malone fucking does, because I know what it's like to fuck models and do yak. Like, I don't need to hear another guy telling me what his awesome life is like. I know what that's like. I want to know about the Zamboni job, because I ain't never driven a Zamboni. And
it looks like fun.
And it looks like what I'm saying. And it's funny, because when I talked to him and I was like enthusiastically trying to find out about his job, he was like weirded out, and I was like, no, for real. That's an interesting job to me. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I want to hear about that. So I'm sure you coming up to George and it wasn't here, check out my mixtape. It was, hey, I've got a skill I'm sure you haven't met but fucking 5 people in the whole world that have, you know what I mean? And
I had never built like a set like what I have to do for them. Like, I built.
What did you build up to then? Just the Ghostbusters?
Well, no, I had done. Well, I was
or...
building the proton packs at that point. There, I've been doing it for a few years, and I had built my Halloween sets, but a lot of those I had to build to store. So I already had a concept of how I had to go about building things to break down, but I just had to be a little bit smarter with what I was going to do with their stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it's got to be a little bit more, it's got to take a little bit more abuse.
Throw some casters on it to make it easily moved.
If possible, like yes.
But you had built some stuff before that.
Yeah.
Like what?
I built a giant crypt for my front yard, and had like I said, the guillotine, the animatronic, what was it? The electric chair guy had that. So, and like I said, doing the proton packs, I was doing that for a few years.
So a lot of the stuff that now you can go to Spirit Halloween, and if you want to drop $800 fucking dollars, or more, you can get something like that.
Yeah.
So when you were having it though, it was a rarity out there for the most part. So yeah, that's cool. That gets you noticed. I mean, was your dream strictly to make for Twiztid, or do you have now, especially with that fucking thing I got sitting behind you, practical props in movies and practical scenery in movies is kind of gone out the fucking window.
Oh, everybody wants to do CGI nowadays.
It's fucking a lot of matte painting, and it's a lot of garbage, and it's because a lot of the ways we used to trick people in film you can't do anymore because of high def. Scarface. I tell this story sometimes. Scarface, the movie with Al Pacino, one of my favorite movies of all fucking time. Oh, we got a 4K HD remaster of that movie. Cool. We get it home, put it on the fucking 4K HD TV, and blatantly, there are entire pieces of the set that aren't real, that are cardboard fucking cutouts. All the furniture in Tony Montana's house, every fucking piece of furniture that isn't actively being used by somebody is fucking a cardboard cutout of said piece of furniture. And you can tell in the
how much they faked it.
4K transition. You couldn't tell back in the day.
Right.
Because they got to rub that little film shit on it. You know what I mean? They smudged it just the correct degree
so
to
that
make
you couldn't see it.
But crisp and shit, the way shit is nowadays,
it's
real hard to fake. So building high concept sets, building these places has become a fucking daunting task because you can't fake nearly any of it.
No. No, you can't. So you got to have a lot more practical on sets. That's what they're doing with the new Star Wars movies. Ever since they did the part 1, 2, and 3, where everything was like digital for the background.
They're rebuilding a lot. And then using
at least they're listening to fans there.
Yeah,
You
I know they rebuilt the entirety of the Millennium Falcon.
Oh yeah, for the new series.
Yeah, and just had it in the desert, and it's like that's fucking rad. Like there have been sets where I'm like, wow, that's like an amazing situation that they did, and it's. I watched a featurette. You ever seen Nothing But Trouble?
Oh yeah, yeah.
With Dan Aykroyd. Okay,
yeah.
The budget for that movie, 80% of it went to production and set design.
Yeah, they built that. I think they bought like a full roller coaster.
Real. Everything was real. They went out and bought every toaster in California.
Just to fill in
just to have a pile of toasters. They bought every junk car for 3 towns just to have these piles of junk cars. And the production designer later went on to be this genius because early in his career he was just told, make it all real. And I miss that shit. Because that shit is overwhelming when you see it the right way.
Oh, dude, I love that movie. Chevy Chase and that, and Dan Aykroyd with the penis nose, right?
Fucking Nothing But Trouble. That's how I described where we did the show in Maine with Axe the other night. Was that we were in Vulcanvania.
I've seen photos of it. I was like, oh my god.
There were piles of old National Geographic magazines in the venue. I'm not making
At least they had plenty of reading material.
I'm not making that up.
I heard it smelled like wood.
So you've built for Twiztid, you build for collectors, you build for cosplay enthusiasts. Have you had an opportunity to throw anything towards any kind of films or TV work as of yet? Do you even consider yourself that sort of a prop maker? Because it's funny, with the circle we run in, I mean, we know somebody who does makeup for film now.
Yeah.
We are all like one step removed from doing this in this other capacity for film and TV. So, do you see that for yourself? Do you see there has been some sort of a return to some practical stuff, especially in the horror genre, as kind of blowback against all this CG crap that costs too much fucking money?
Right.
Do you see yourself being able to build some set design and?
No, not really. I mean, I'm not really interested in working in the movies. One of my things was, like I said, I wanted to build props for Twiztid. I just thought that would be really badass. I was a super big fan. The main thing I really want to do in life is probably just build my own horror theme park. That's what I'm really into right there. It's been a dream of mine since I was a kid. I went to Spooky World, and I
saw Tiny Tim. I saw Tiny Tim get married at Spooky World.
Really?
In '94. Shout out to my homeboy Alvin, who I told him Spooky World was 45 minutes from here.
Oh, dude, man.
That shit's 3 fucking hours away from here. But you know what? We drove. That was the first time I met Kane. I was 16. I don't even think I was 16.
I met Robert Englund there in '96.
I was 15. I think it was 95. I was 15. And my friend had just gotten his license. I made him drive up there. And we met Kane. Tom Savini was there. Tom Savini, they had given him his own section. So he had his own little spook ride that was up there. And this is when it was still Spooky World. Now it's garbage.
Yeah.
Now it's
it's like Canopy Lake Park, I think.
Other better traveling spook houses.
Yeah.
That's problematic. The problematic alarm, you can't call them spook houses no more. They're haunts or whatever. That's dope. So are you involved in that sort of a thing now where you live?
Well, I'm interested in looking at purchasing some land to get something going.
Okay.
And I've got plans I've been working on since I was about 12 years old. So this is something I'm really aspiring to do. I mean,
the reason I like so this fucking dashing motherfucker who hangs on my wall, that's Jimmy Hazard. That's my stepfather. May he rest in peace. When I was 8, Jimmy forced me to volunteer at the local haunted attraction.
Oh, shit.
And his whole thing was the fake. You got 4 scarecrows. And one of them's actually a person.
Okay. Yeah, I see where you're going.
That was his gag.
Okay.
He loved that gag. That was his gag. He loved that gag. So he would go to great lengths to build these identical fucking things. And then he would make sure he looked exactly like them. Yeah. And he would set up. And then as I got older, after helping him do that, I got my own section for a couple of years. And there's an ill black and white photo that my mother has of me like in a pile of leaves, and I had recreated the Pet Cemetery from the movie.
Oh, okay.
And had like a cat on like a zip line, like a fake fucking cat with a
fucking
noise,
flinging cats at
with
people.
a noise, like the cat was coming at them, and I was like little Gage in the fucking leaves and shit. I love that sort of shit. Like I love that shit. I like seeing the new way that whole shit is going.
All themed out.
I haven't been to one in a grip. I didn't go this year. They've gotten quite pricey. That's the other fucking thing. I remember when I was a kid, it was like $10 donation and it goes to the library. You know, that was the haunted house. Now it's $60 fucking a head, and you're getting a picture and a fucking t-shirt and all this other shit. Because we have some good ones here, clearly, because, you know, fucking Halloween up here is a fucking multi-billion-dollar business.
Oh, yeah.
Factory of Terror's got 3 locations. They're okay. They're not bad.
I went through there. I got shuttled ahead. Somehow I got in for like half price, and I got
shit.
shuttled ahead of everyone. I knew a guy, and he's like, "Oh shit, Mike!" And next thing you know, he shuttled me and my brother ahead, and we got down this thing. I'm thinking, "Oh, there ain't that many people here." No, there's a whole fucking like basement full of people, like in this whole snaky line. He just shuttles me past all these people right up to the ticket booth.
Yep.
Half price, boom, you're in. I was like, "Oh."
When I was out west, I would travel a lot because like Halloween out there was different because the weather was still 80 fucking degrees. Mm-hmm. So like ease of travel is still like there. So like driving 2 hours to a haunted house was not a thing. So like I went to Universal Horror Nights or whatever the fuck it was. You know, I'm talking about Halloween Horror Nights, and that shit's mad like not scary. It's just mad corporate. You get to see like the MGM monsters and all that shit.
All the licensed brands.
We go to like one that's like in an abandoned hospital. This is when I was still married. I'm talking about early 2000s. And we go to one, and it's in an abandoned like fucking hospital, and that one freaked me the fuck out because they had hospital stuff in there still.
Oh, really?
Like it was like literally just an abandoned hospital, and they were just using it and everything that was in it to fucking create this nightmare.
Jesus.
And it was pretty hardcore. So I went to that one. And then we were trying to step it up. At the time, that place in San Diego that everybody talks about now that can, like, legally hold you for 8 hours. Like, you sign a paper.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of... I watched the documentary.
Have to let you go
yeah.
for 8 hours. Like, I'm not doing that.
No, fuck that.
But we were stepping it up. So I had heard about one that was at the building at the fairgrounds at Miramar, I think, which is, like, between San Diego and Orange County. Fuck it, we'll go. It's like $80 a person.
Fuck.
It wasn't about being scary. There were people in costume and shit for sure. Mm-hmm. But they had like heavy metal music turned up to fucking 1,000. Like to the point where it was distorted. And everything was strobe light.
Oh, man.
So they're drowning out your ability to hear, and then they're affecting your ability to see. And then it wasn't inside like a small building with hallways. It was on like the floor of a giant fucking arena.
Oh.
So the walking spaces were these giant fucking things with tarps, not even walls, tarps that clearly things could sneak through to get you. And you weren't close enough to either side to feel any sort of safety.
And you're just like in your little zone
And
here,
I remember
moving through.
Me, my wife, and her friend. There's a long ass part, and there's nothing in it. And at the end is a chair and a fucking dude with a skull mask sitting in it. And I said, "This dude's gonna get up. He's gonna walk towards us." And I said it out loud to kind of like, I don't know, convince myself that it's not going to be like, don't be scared when he gets up and does what we know he's about to do. This dude got up, walked towards me, I about cried. And I knew he was going to do it. But just the strobe light effect, because he moved so quick because of that. And like maybe he wasn't nearly as far away as we perceived it because of the lighting.
And he just came up on you like.
We didn't even get through that one. My old lady was like, "I'm done." Like about halfway through, she saw like an exit door, and she was like, we're going that way."
Damn.
She was like, "I am straight." So like, I love haunted houses. Have you seen the houses that October built?
I think I might have. Isn't
about
that like
the haunted houses,
and the
at
people
end
follow
they get
them and
buried
stuff?
Alive. Yeah, they're looking for. There's a sequel to that I didn't know existed.
I think we started
that looks
to watch
really good.
that. I might have fallen asleep watching it though. But yeah,
So yeah, you want to open up like your own haunt?
Yeah, dude. Oh, that's my dream.
Fire,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, that's my game
You
plan.
gotta
in
hit a
life.
brother up, man, because like that's one of those jobs I love, like that I loved doing. Like I loved that 2 weeks or whatever it was. But now, like if you try to work at one of those places, you're looking at like a 6-week commitment, fucking 7 days a week. Like October's the busiest time of the year for me too.
Well, for me, I don't plan on running it 7 days a week until the last one. I'm more of like,
last
like
2 weeks.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the start of
I was gonna
October,
say,
and
some
then
of these
that
corporate
last
ones,
week.
it's a grinder.
Oh yeah, they do.
It's
They
a
push it.
fucking grinder. And with October being like my birthday and Halloween, it's like my busiest month, just in general. I can't just dedicate the whole month to that one thing. Like,
Right.
I'd love to go pop into a joint, do a couple of days, have some fucking fun. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like doing it.
Right.
Like, I love doing that shit. I love the
I
idea
worked
of-
in New Jersey at a haunted house, and that was fun. I wound up getting hired. My neighbor was working at some store, and the owner came in and bought all these costumes, and she told him about me. She's like, "Oh, my next door neighbor builds all these Halloween things, right?" So he's like, "Oh, well, here's my number. Give it to him." So I call up. They hire me. So I go in there. Next thing I know, I didn't know what I was going to be doing. They just threw me into the fire, literally. They're like, "All right, yeah, you're a tour guide, and they're like, where's your costume?" I'm like, "I didn't bring one. I
Yeah.
thought you were giving me one, you know?" And they're like, "Oh man!" So they literally just throw a cape on me and some green makeup for this first day.
You're now Dracula. deal with
I
it.
was like Dracula Frankenstein, I guess.
Deal with it.
So they just throw me in there. And so the next day when I come in, I came in with this whole thing. I got a straight jacket, chains wrapped around me. I did like the Twiztid makeup, had my hair all spiked out. And just, I started coming up with these one-liners as I went through there. And, oh, man, it was an awesome time, dude. 7 days. Now, it wasn't 7 days a week. It was
I don't
Friday
mind
through Saturday.
wearing the makeup anymore. I used to hate it, but I don't mind it so much anymore. Megan did the Ninja Stars. They're over there on that corner, on the behind the fucking thing on the bookshelf there.
You kept the Ninja Stars.
I did keep the Ninja Stars. I hadn't worn an appliance like that in fucking year upon year, and then I wore those, and then I had a gig. It was crisis acting, which at first freaked me the fuck out. Because it was National Guard training exercises at Gillette Stadium for a chemical bomb attack.
Really?
And I was playing a victim. So I went and I had to get my head all blown open and shit. So they had like triage makeup on me, and I was like,
That's going to be awesome.
welcome to the movie factory.
Right?
But that was dope. I like the idea of like working in genre and shit being practical. There are like we talked about it in the fucking car. There are people that are still doing practical shit, and it still holds up. It still looks good. You know what I saw?
Yeah, you just can't fake it on film.
No, you know what? Some shit. Let me tell you. Some shit holds up. The way Scarface doesn't, and that shit was how fucking like the budget on that at the time was fucking like tremendous. The fact that doesn't hold up, but then you have something like, in my opinion, Puppet Master. Holds up fine.
Oh, yeah.
Holds up fucking great, man. Puppet Master holds up great. Gremlins.
Yeah.
Gremlins
fucking
holds up
Gremlins.
fucking great. Those puppets are fucking great. Gremlins too.
Yeah, nowadays, they just fucking CGI all the Gremlins, and it would just...
There's like 2 Gremlins in Gremlins 2 where I'm like, like the fucking, I think the fucking the arachnid one.
Oh,
spider
dude, that's my
one.
favorite one
But
right
I think
there.
it don't hold up like in the translation of the high def, but the rest do.
I'd have to watch it in high
that
def.
smart one does. I know that smart one does. And Gizmo running across the damn screen.
Oh, my God, dude.
That shit holds up.
There was a guy who came to conventions. He had this huge gizmo head that, like, he had for display. And I guess they were just going to have a little guy, run around so they could do close-ups of Gizmo. So this way they could get more animation out of the face, because you couldn't do that on just a small doll. You were limited to what you could put inside of something that small. So, so to be able to get more animation, eyelids moving and stuff, they just build a big, like, vent that he was in, and they just have a person in the costume. I think they scrapped that. They didn't wind up using it. But
there's a lot about fucking Gremlins that people don't know. One of the questions that came up at the end of Celebrity Trivia at Astronomicon was what movie was responsible for the idea of a PG-13 rating, because it went from PG to R to X. until this one movie came out, and it wasn't PG, but it wasn't R, and they didn't want to give a Spielberg movie, Gremlins, an R. Right. So the MPAA created the PG-13 rating for Gremlins.
Just to get kids in there.
Because they figured, all right, 18 might be too old, but 13, you know what I mean? Like, because there's some fucked up shit in that movie.
There is when you stop and you go back and watch it.
My dad, I don't believe in Santa. Well, why? Because my fucking dad dressed up like him and we burned him alive in the fucking chimney because we didn't know any better. What? Zach Galligan, I guess is his name, right?
That's the guy?
Yeah, I think that's his name. He does some cons and shit. I've been wanting to meet him. He's in a couple of things I really like. He's in a movie called Brighton Beach Memoirs.
Never saw that.
Actually, no, that's not him. I always get him confused with the one guy, the Jewish guy from Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, I've seen Weekend at Bernie's.
Do you know Weekend at Bernie's? How there's like the white guy, and then there's like the guy who's not white, but he's not anything else. He's Jewish. He's like super Jewish. He's in a movie called Brighton Beach Memoirs, which is like one of my favorite all time, like non-action adventure fucking films.
It's like a comedy.
So that's cool though. What's the scariest shit you've experienced at a haunt?
At a haunt? Oh, geez. I almost got punched in the face once.
Well, I mean, if you were being a dick, like, because I've gone in there being a dick sometimes, like, and you can get fucking. I give those people props. Like, I always worked at one where the rule was you couldn't touch people, and they weren't supposed to touch you either. I never knocked nobody out in those places. But you get the right kind of jump scare, a motherfucker might try to.
That's exactly what happened. I came around a corner,
blame people like that.
Jumped out on a guy, and this guy's fist went right up, and he had that Rocky Balboa look, like we're outside of Philly. He's got the hat on. He's like, "Hey!" I'm like, "Oh my god!" I jumped back.
See, there's my original like experiences with those were like, okay, we're gonna travel from A to B. And the travel, like, and the quest that you're going on to get the fuck out of there is what's part of the scare. As I got a little older, and I think one of the last real big ones, well, not even a big one, a small one, but a fairly decently run fucking spook house I worked at. The last room you went in they were recreating a human sacrifice in it. So it wasn't even like you were like traversing through it, and there were people trying to impede you. It was just that you had to see them cut a heart out of a dude, and it was so good. It was done so well.
I mean, I wish
and
I could've seen that.
They had the reset down, so they were resetting it every time a group came through, and people were truly getting freaked out, thinking they were cutting a dude's heart out.
Oh my god!
And I was like, all right, this is something new, because. Well, the way you know what I mean? Oh, well, where can we get a jump scare here? There was no jump scare.
No.
It was, we're going to cut a heart out of this dude, and you're going to watch us do it, and you're going to question whether or not it's fucking real. Like, I think spook houses overall shifted during those years to things like that, where it's like the jump scare, it shouldn't be what you're going through for every time.
No.
It's the overall. I would love to see, and someone is probably going to steal my idea, and that's fucking fine, and I may not be the first person to think of this. With Bird Box being the hit it is, you could get away with running a Bird Box, like, themed haunt where you just put fucking blindfolds on people and not lead them from one place to another.
You could have some really spooky sounds and
winds
and stuff, things that are going to like...
and you wouldn't even need people.
Right.
Like, without people, it's even better because there's no one to...
Dude, they put, like, hoses against the walls that, like, have an airline that blow and just touch your ankles, dude. Oh, my God.
Or just, like, not even big enough ledges. Like, not even ledges to make them trip, but just, like, awkward. The floor shifts to the right at this part. You don't see it. Like, just make you, like, for real, and be like, look, you can't take the blindfold off. You know what I mean?
No, they might as well. I mean, I've walked through a couple darks. Oh my god, dude, I've walked in the walls in some of those. Those things are not fun.
Because that's, I mean, the era of the jump scare and it being effective, I think, is over for the most part. People kind of smartened up. As people have gotten smarter.
Well, they've gotten some cool ones nowadays that where, like, I went to this one haunt. It was called the Bates Motel or Bates Hotel. It's in Pennsylvania. And they had this one where it was a staircase. And this guy, literally, the staircase lifts off to the side in the middle of the stairs, and this guy just comes popping out of it. Like, you know, they disguise the scares sometimes now, too, where the drop panels and stuff, where you got the frames and stuff.
Drop panels. I know what you're talking about. But, yeah, like I said, those are jump scares. I like the whole idea of, like, the broken elevator I've been hearing about. I heard a couple places this year had, like, a broken elevator situation.
Yeah.
Where it was really, like, really real. Like, it really fucking
like a simulator,
real.
basically.
Like, basically, it's, yeah, the elevator is set up so when a button is pressed, it fails, catches itself, and then, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Fuck you. Like, we're getting way too close.
That's a heart dropper.
I mean, like, when I heard about that place in San Diego, I was like, fuck no. Like, you can really, I heard a couple of girls got really fucked up, like, really PTSD'd the fuck out.
Really?
From that fucking place in San Diego.
Okay.
Because they literally... You have to go through psychological evaluation before you do it. And they can tell. They'll ask, like, what's your biggest fear? Well, you know that the reason they want to know that
is they're going to use it against you.
So whoever it is that's giving you your evaluation knows when you're lying. And then they use that shit against you, too. Yo, fuck you! Get out of my
god,
head.
dude! No, I couldn't do that, man. They're making you eat things you wouldn't normally want to eat. You know, here's some worms.
To think of like times I've been truly frightened. I don't like when the ground moves. That was always a cheap trick, in my opinion. Like,
just like a shifting floor or something.
Like a shift floor, like, you know what I mean? Like a floor that looks like a regular ass floor. And the minute you put your foot on it, it goes to the side, or it goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like on a slider.
They move like almost like a seesaw. Almost.
Even though that's not even as bad as just it shifting on a flat plane.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Not tilting, just sliding.
Back and forth.
Yeah. Like, because the boat, when I was in the Navy, being on the mast, and the fucking ocean's at like 15 feet swells. So, like, you're like, I'm gonna die. Nope. And then, I'm gonna die. Nope, I'm not gonna die. Gonna die again. Nope, not gonna die.
Oh, fuck that.
Like being like 40 feet up on a mast. Like, you're clipped on. You're not gonna go anywhere. But just being in the ocean is such an odd animal because you have a fucking thing where, okay, yeah, you have a large, like, upper portion of it, but it don't weigh nothing. It's usually like aluminum, even though it's tall. And then you have the fucking iron ship. And it's far deep under the water. And sometimes you forget that. And you'll be up here on the mast. And that fucker will, like, almost touch the water.
Oh,
and you'll be like, bitch, we're going to flip over. Bitch, we're about to flip over. And then, nope, it'll just and correct itself. So anytime the floor moves underneath my feet, now it freaks me out. Because you get used to it on the boat. I used to be able to walk up like 3 decks in 3 steps with the right swells.
Really?
Yeah, because you just time it.
And just kind of skip them.
Take a big step.
Yeah.
And the stairs would go underneath you, and you'd be at the top of them.
Okay.
When you would land, fuck my knees up, doing shit like that. Walking on the wall, where, you know, you'd see people's footsteps, where it's like you're walking down a passageway. And then as the boat goes this way, the fucking path on the wall, people, their footprints up on the way to the wall.
Oh, fuck.
Or trying to work out, being in the gym, and being on a fucking treadmill, and having that shit be like this 1 minute, and then like this the next, where you're holding on, trying not to die. Oh,
I tell you, they got them bolted down. Oh, my God.
Secured for sea, bro. So, yeah, anytime, like, movement, unnatural movement around me occurs, that shit fucks me up. But yeah, I don't know if jump scares are the way to go with these places.
I mean, you get the animatronics too, and they've got some really, really cool, like, crossover animatronic jump scares too, where they got this one where they'll have a costume actor attached to this, and they have these fake arms that are all moving, but in reality, the actor's arms are down to the side.
Yep.
He just pops right out at you. So, I mean, they're kind of crossbreeding them now, too. I've got a whole bunch of ideas, though, for...
There's a place that's doing a lot with smells that I heard about. Like, they're pumping in, like, slaughterhouse
This
smell.
reminds me, I just read about this brand new place opening in April in California. It's all dedicated to horror movies.
Yeah.
And you're going to walk through this. It's not a haunted house, but it's like a sensory experience where they've got Nightmare on Elm Street, The Shining, and they're going to recreate, like, the things from the movies, I guess, you know, like set pieces, and you're going to be immersed in the world.
Okay.
They got Pennywise, so you're going to be in the sewer.
Nancy's house.
Yep. They said the boiler
room.
room. Lost Boys were going to be a big part of it. Like, they
Ooh,
showed a
the
picture of the
cave.
Freddy glove. They got a humongous metal Freddy glove they're having made.
Yo, I love that shit. I love the idea, like, concept design and production design.
And from what I'm
I
reading,
can't
I
do
think
it.
it's more for, like, photos, too. Like, you're going to, like, as you go through this,
Yeah,
you're going to be able to stop and just take photos and stuff.
That's pretty rad. I mean, I've seen a couple of those actually immersive type set pieces. The Star Wars, some of the Star Wars contingents in different city, those cosplayers have the cantina.
Oh, yes.
And it's the table where Han is sitting with Greedo and he's dead already with the gun in his hand. And you can sit there like you know, Han shot first or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you can sit in Han's spot. Like that type of shit is dope. I could see that shit catching
People
on.
love that
Well,
stuff
I
for
remember the
photo
first.
ops.
I remember the first Astronomicon seeing a lot of pictures and a lot of people taking pictures in the Blaze Throne.
Oh,
Is
yes.
that yours?
Yeah, I did do the
All
Blaze
right.
Throne.
So yeah, so like people love that shit, and it, especially Twiztid now with the con is learning it has a longer life
Yeah.
if it doesn't get destroyed. The axe things got destroyed.
No, they still get the axe pillars. They get dinged up.
They got
But,
dinged up.
yeah, I mean,
But I was wondering
if
why
they're
they
made
didn't
of
come out for
foam.
the com. I knew people would like. People love those fucking things.
I know, right? Dude, those
Like
guys
even
love
people
them.
who don't know what they are.
Right.
Like that must make you feel awesome for like the angel statue. Like
Totally,
to have
totally.
cosplayers being like, "Oh, this is rad," and they have no idea what that is.
No, some of these people, they weren't like, there wasn't like, oh, just juggalos there or anything. Dude, this is a
No.
mix of just, you know, everyday people that would go to a convention, you know, they're
But
there.
it's got to be validating, especially for you.
It's cool. I saw tons of people taking photos, but you know, both years when we had it up, and just, you know, all the attention that it's gotten is just awesome. You know, really honored to be able to, you know, redo that whole thing for them, because they lost the head. The head was missing for years.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, they didn't have the head. They acquired it back.
Okay.
And in that, they, you know, hit me up and they were like, hey, you want to redo this head, you know? And so they needed the body, though. Because, of course, when the head, I guess, went missing, the body got thrown out, I assume.
Why even keep it?
You know, yeah, why even keep it? So, you know, so I had to rebuild
But the head's
that.
definitely the more complicated part of that
Oh,
job.
totally so. Yeah, so I didn't actually make the head. The head is the original head. We just did new hair, new paint on it.
Refreshed
you know.
it and
And then we did the
cleaned it
wings.
up.
Those wings were fucking crazy.
Well, yeah, I saw a bunch of pictures and there's people, and that's right there at the entrance. And I think that thing's going to be a fixture of Astronomicon right there at the fucking entrance to that main room.
I
all the
guess
time.
so, huh? It will be. I was trying to bring the Krampus. If I had time, I wanted to bring the giant Krampus. Krampus would have been dope.
Have you ever made something strictly, you saw something and you were like, I want one?
Like, what, like Twiztid?
Like a prop. No, like
Oh, something on like
something
TV?
like, yeah, have you ever just like
Well, I mean,
made
that's how it was
something?
when I was a kid. Yeah, I mean, it was just something.
Oh,
I
for
wanted.
real?
Yeah.
You were just making stuff you
Well,
wanted?
dude, I was making the proton packs when I was in like in the 4th grade. I was taking cardboard. My grandmother did Avon, so she'd have the Avon boxes. I took the lid. I was sitting there watching real Ghostbusters, you know, and I was taping on another piece to make it more 3D, and then drawing
alright.
it. But then it was like, well, wait a minute, I got a hot glue gun at home. So then I started cutting it up and actually gluing, and then, you know, I built like the real Ghostbuster pack first, but then I was like, you know, I should try making the movie one. So I paused VHS, and, you know, and I built tons of these. Like,
Yeah, I mean, the amount of work that goes in and being able to get those dimensions right.
well, it wasn't dimensions then, you know, it was literally
No,
just
no,
me like
but-
cutting and gluing
Now
it,
it
just
is.
like
Now it is. Like, I
Yeah.
see the stuff you're building now, and I'm like, damn.
oh, I
like,
got dimensions now because people have gotten to examine the packs and they've pulled dimensions and stuff. So I mean, most of the information is pretty much out there now.
Oh, yeah, with
but
the internet.
in '09 when I started, it was still coming along, and no one had really. All the photos we had were from like Planet Hollywood. Pack was on display. So you're limited to whatever side they had visible. So and then it was just like piecing it all together. So I don't know. I say around 2012 they had most of the information.
So, all right. So we're sitting here, and I'm gonna be selfish because there's something that I've always wanted to do for like a double Halloween or like a cosplay situation. Definitely now would fit, but I've never been able to get the major piece to this situation. I want to be Dark Helmet from Spaceballs.
Yes.
I don't want to just be Black Dark Helmet. I want to be Safari Dark Helmet too. So I need both helmets.
So they need to look like safari helmets.
Like you remember the scene where they're in the desert and he's got the Safari desert one
Yes.
with the eyes?
Yes.
We ain't found shit. Like, you know what I mean? I want to be that dude. So clearly what you do is you're fabricating
Yeah.
a lot of stuff and then putting it together. Something like what I need would clearly be I'd have to have something cast.
It might even just be vacuum formed.
Really?
A lot of that stuff, yeah, like the Stormtrooper armor, it's all vacuum formed.
Okay, because that's what I'm looking at is a helmet like that with the
vacuum
the
forming is a lot
grill in
easier.
it.
You just have to make like what you're going to make into like a really hard form, and then you get a piece of plastic and it heats up at the top, and then you drop it down and vacuum sucks it through. It's got like holes like a air hockey table.
Okay.
You have your piece sitting on it, and all those extra air holes suck all the air out, almost like one of those Ziploc baggies, that you freezer, suck out all the air and stuff.
See, I know nothing about this.
Yeah,
That's why I'm asking.
That's pretty much what you're doing, and then it cools real fast, and you just trim out the extra stuff, and boom, you're all set to go.
As I die.
Right? Yeah.
That might have been that might be the good one.
Oh my God.
One of those three had
I think it was the last one.
a bunch
I
of
was dude. I was gone after a few hits.
like I don't know nothing about like I know that some guy made this and hand painted it.
And there was work that went into that.
That freaks me the fuck out. Because I don't know, man. I'm just not from that background of, fabricating and being a maker. I've never been a maker. But, like, do you do masks?
I mean, I have done masks when I was younger. I don't do a ton of sculpting as much as I used to. I've been more into the fabricating end, just building and assembling. I like working with wood and plastics and stuff a little bit more. That's always been my fun part. But, I mean, I do know how to do a lot of that stuff. I've done some plaster molds. I did make this freak show head. I did make a rubber one.
Yeah?
Yeah, we auctioned the base off at the second freak show in Kokomo. Yeah, and we had a whole base to it and everything else, and I sculpted that whole head. And I still got one of those.
See, I'm thinking in terms of so you clearly this started because of the fandom for the Ghostbusters at base.
Yeah.
And clearly you're helping people achieve levels of fandom they couldn't have.
Dude, I'm told this all the time.
You know what I'm saying?
They're like, dude, this is my dream. I've needed this.
Has anybody ever reached out to you for something like of that same ilk? Like a flux capacitor?
I haven't been hit up for a flux capacitor, but I was hit up by...
Because that's something that people that are fans of that particular series could just be a display piece in an office. That doesn't even have to be... You know what I mean?
Just like Ghostbusters itself.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, the Back to the Future franchise has its own set of super fans. And
oh, dude, and I hear a lot of them are picky.
Like,
so aren't the Ghostbuster fans, though.
Oh,
so
yeah.
They can't be. I mean, yeah, but everyone's got,
But, like, yeah, like, if I'm sure there's somebody out there who's trying to perfect his fucking Marty J. Fox fucking, and he can't find a hoverboard. And I'm thinking in terms of, damn, that's something that he could easily make for somebody. That hot pink Hasbro. It doesn't have to be a hoverboard.
Right.
That's not the point.
It's just display.
Yeah, but it's gonna be correct to the canon of the flick. You know what I mean? Like what you've got going on opens up a whole wide range of just possibilities as
Pretty
far
much
as
just
like
build anything I want.
fandom possibilities. Yeah, like.
And I've got some other ideas for some other props that I'm going to be working on, and I got the Ninja Turtle weapons I'm doing.
Okay.
Those ones are all real aluminum swords, real aluminum size are being made. I already got the swords made. Swords are made. I just got to get the size made for the prototypes.
What's the largest scale, like recreation of something like this you've done?
It'd be the slime blower. That's probably the most difficult.
Really?
No one's ever truly done it
motherfucking-
very good.
really?
No one's ever even offered a run like I've done.
Yeah.
And just finding, like I said, just getting people to do the things that I needed. Like making that cone was very difficult. That was going to cost me a lot of money to have done at an automated company. They wanted $800 just for a prototype.
No doubt.
Just for this little tiny aluminum cone.
Yeah,
it's like a
one
funnel.
Piece of a
It's a funnel,
much
basically.
larger contraption for sure.
And you think, oh, well, maybe I can find a funnel that's I couldn't find shit. Everyone's been looking for years. Everyone's been looking. Couldn't find it. So the only way to really get it done was to have it done this way. And I found a guy online who did it at his house.
Have you ever been asked to do something that was too big, and you were like, "Can't do that"?
No.
Well, see, that's a good attitude too. 'Cause,
No.
like I'm
I
just
think the
thinking,
bigger the better, dude. Right? If I can make it as
I mean,
fucking big as I can.
I see people trying to recreate the hearse from the Ghostbusters, and I'm sure there are pieces to that. People have to come to some.
I made the roof rack for someone.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And there are people trying to recreate DeLoreans out there, and are trying to recreate these other fucking things, and it's so awesome. That's been like your artistic outlet is helping people achieve
Just things that I've been into since I was a kid, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's just really cool to be able to do what I love every day. So I mean, I literally work 7 days a week because I don't really mind working, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
like,
just
it's
doing
not
what I
even
love.
work. It's at some point it's like, oh, I get to build these cool fucking things, and then people are enjoying the shit out of them.
Right. And I got people all over the world I sell to.
That's fire.
I sold to people in the Philippines, Taiwan, dude. Like ever since the Ghostheads documentary came out on Netflix.
Yeah?
That opened up a lot more. Like I had sold, in Europe.
Are you in that?
Yeah, I'm in that.
Oh, all right. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, and it's called Ghostheads, and I assume it's about.
Yeah, it's about the fan base of Ghostbusters.
No doubt.
Yeah,
That must have blown you the fuck up a
It did,
little bit.
Yeah. I got my own special feature on the DVD. Yeah, on the first page, mind you,
Yo,
too.
you
I'm
must
not buried
put-
like 3 pages back
Your
in special
shit must
features.
have been like your shit must have blown up on that.
I did.
Then.
It fucking did. Yeah.
So you just became like the Ghostbuster
Yeah.
replica.
Pretty much. Yeah.
guy?
I'm pretty much the only guy in the States doing it. Like,
It's amazing.
yeah. I never intended to achieve that, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just a fan of Ghostbusters,
Yeah,
dude.
but
Just wanting to
that's
build
so
proton packs,
dope.
and it was something I was good at. I could do and make money. I mean, that's how I've been since I was a kid.
That's pretty dope. All right, so let's turn towards this then for a minute. As a Ghostbusters fan, what has your experience been with the movies? Like, have you met Dan Aykroyd, or have you met any of the principals involved? Did you maybe, like Fury did, go out for the extra scene in the female version?
yeah.
Like anything like that? Have you had any personal experience with those guys? Have any of them reached out even on social media or the internet?
I know I've met Ernie Hudson at a convention.
Okay.
But I did do something that Dan Aykroyd has hanging in his office.
Really?
Which is one of the Terror Dog heads.
Yo,
Yes,
that's
yeah.
fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Shouts to Dan Aykroyd, man. That's a Massachusetts native. That's a Cape Cod native. Crazier than a fucking, just crazy as shit.
Dude, man, it's like
Alien fucking truther, and makes a fine vodka in Crystal
does.
Skull.
Oh, man,
it's
Crystal Skull.
a fine vodka. But that's fire.
Right.
That's amazing. I know they're filming the new one.
Yeah.
And with Jason Reitman is I'm pretty souped.
Dude, I mean, hey, I'm glad. Jason, he grew up around this. Think about that.
Jason was the kid in Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
Tells them my dad says you guys are phonies.
Dude, oh my God, dude. He tells me he's full of crap. And they're like, oh,
my
man.
dad says you're full of crap. Your dad's behind the director's chair right now telling us to be full of crap. But for him to be so close to it, I didn't there were a bunch of reasons not to like the remake. besides the one everybody wanted to fucking scapegoat.
I just felt there was
whatever
too much CGI. The overglow of the ghost. I mean, I like the gear. Don't mind. I love the gear. I'm glad that they didn't go more sleek. You know, I was worried that they were going to try to bump the 21st century into it.
Make it all.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, that's not going to work out. It's not going to look cool.
The idea of Egon making that shit at home. Like, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't supposed to be sleek. It was supposed to not have the proper shielding. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like,
exactly.
But I just think, you know, certain story aspects of that shit were certainly lacking. I'm hoping whatever it is that Jason's doing is, like, just a continuation.
Well, they made one announcement, like, well, supposedly it's not. I don't know if it's 100%.
Just the car?
No, they're bringing the kid in. He did an audition from It, the one who's in Stranger Things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
that
know who
kid.
you're talking about.
Yeah,
To do what?
He's going to be some kid.
Is he
Him and his
Vigo?
mother.
Is he Vigo?
I don't know. Maybe he's baby Vigo.
Vigo.
Be a little too young.
You'll have to give me the baby.
But I guess they're going to have like teenage kids involved, and they're going to be passing the torch. That's about the gist of like, what's out there right now. Is like,
I mean, so many stories went along for so long about like they sent Bill the script.
Oh, he was going to be a ghost. Everyone was like,
and then
no.
he shredded that motherfucker and sent it back to them, and they needed his approval.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, he didn't. Well, because Dan Aykroyd, Ivan Reitman, and they all owned like a portion of it, so they couldn't do shit without Bill Murray on board. So, you know, they were pretty much fucked without him. You know, and he didn't want him to screw it up like whoever, like producers. I don't know who the hell
Bill's
did it,
Bill's a fucking borderline psychotic, from what I understand, and smokes a shit ton of weed. Like, we smoke a lot. This motherfucker has been smoking a lot for 40 years. Like he smoked with John Belushi. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like,
yeah.
He got divorced.
I didn't even know he smoked weed. This is actually news to me right now.
Yeah, hold on. Since it's been a really good conversation, man. We've been going for an hour straight. I'm digging this a lot. We're gonna keep it going, and we haven't even gone to the second screen for any kind of
well,
thing.
Let's
So
go to
hold
the
on,
second screen.
Let me Google this real quick, and we'll pull.
Well, you know, a buddy of mine just did a documentary, Bill Murray stories, and it's about all the wild adventures Bill Murray.
That's what I mean. But when he got divorced, right? The documents that came out, the shit his wife, like his wife was like, look, I can't be married to dude. But the stuff in the filing was like if I was rich, old, and Bill Murray and a stoner, and it's exactly how I would fucking act for some degree. He cheated a lot. I guess that's not.
Oh, well.
And she accused him of abandoning them. But what it was like, homeboy would straight up just get dumb high, and be like, leave his phone at the house, and call his brother and be like, yo, come get me. And then they would just go get on a private jet, and his fucking jet, and then they would take off for 4-month-long golf trips.
Wow.
And he would never tell his wife that he was like, even let her know
just
he was
fucking
leaving.
go.
He would just ghost. Like, you know what I mean? He was like, I ain't afraid to go ghost. Poof.
Damn.
When he got cast in Charlie's Angels, they had a backup waiting because they had no confirmation that he was going to show up.
Oh, that's typical from what every movie I hear about. It's like, dude, they don't even know if he's going to be there.
They have to have a backup on standby, and if he shows up, he fucking shows up, and if they don't, they use a standby. Like, I mean, I guess at some degree, that makes me proud of that dude.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
It's like, hey, if they want me, they'll be waiting for me.
Yeah, they'll wait. Clearly, you have something people want, and he is a fucking legend, and probably never really has to work.
He owns a baseball team.
I mean, it's not expensive to play golf all the time if that's all you do. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if all you're doing is smoking weed and playing golf, you have a low overhead, dog.
Right?
Like, I'm sure he's got a big crib somewhere.
I'm sure he doesn't pay for a lot of these places.
But then he owns a lot of businesses, too. Like, him and his brothers own a lot of restaurants. Mm-hmm. Like, he was the original dude who was like, yo, I got 5 brothers. I'm about to put these bitches on. You know what I mean?
A bunch of them were in movies, too.
Where is that? Is it North Carolina, maybe?
I think it's South Carolina.
Is it South Carolina? There's a place called the Murray Brothers Compound, and it's like a golf place and restaurant. Like, you know what I mean? Like the Wahlbergs did that shit too. Donnie Wahlberg and Mark Wahlberg kind of were like, "Yo,
burger place.
what do you want to do? I want to cook burgers. We got you." You know what I mean? And Wahlburgers is all over the motherfucker now. Good burgers.
I have yet to stop. I gotta try.
Little pricey, but
Okay.
not too bad. Not more than Five Guys.
Oh, Five Guys.
But I mean that's what it is. It's fucking Five Guys.
It's Five Guys, but it's
Five
just
Guys, but
Wahlburgers.
they're all. But two of them were New Kids. You know what I mean? Like, one of them was the Funky Bunch, and the other was like two of them were
kind of
famous.
crossed over there, right?
You have 5 normal guys, and then you have 3 guys, and they're 2 famous brothers. It's the same fucking restaurant. You know what I'm saying? So you're in Indiana now.
Yeah.
Weren't you based further south?
No, Indiana.
No, at any point you're out of Indiana.
No.
Maybe I
I
just
mean,
consider
lived,
Indiana
like I
the
said-
south. I look at the map sometimes and I realize I have no fucking concept.
No, about
of
like
where stuff
2.5
is.
hours from Detroit. So, not that far.
Driving out there for fucking Attack of the Ninjas, I couldn't believe it was a 13.5-hour drive and I didn't even have to set my watch back.
Fuck, dude.
I was mad as shit.
I gotta
was
drive.
fucking mad. Driving home,
Yeah.
like that's the worst. After like doing 3 straight shows and not sleeping, and I was just in a bad fucking mood, and I was sick of the people we had been with, and I was just like,
Time to go home.
yo, we missed a turn on the ride home, and I ended up on like the Cross Queens Expressway at 2:00 in the morning on Sunday. Having to drive 80, getting beeped at by fucking heads, and my homeboy going, "Yo, man, you just fuck you! I ain't slowing down. I'm gonna die if we slow down." Like, but yeah, fuck all that driving shit. We flew to Astro. Next year I'll fly to Astro.
Yeah.
We're bringing the
Hey,
kids. We're bringing the
At
kids
least
next year.
it didn't snow, like, until the end.
Yeah, but that made me nervous.
It was. I didn't
Because
leave
we-
that night.
Like that, I fucked up. I didn't fuck up because if I had been by myself, that was the thing. First year Astro, I went dolo. I went dolo by myself, so it was easy to like drag my sick ass or my tired ass to the airport at 5 a.m. and then I left Sunday night.
Right.
Once shit wrapped up, which almost fucked me, but I didn't even wait till Monday because they didn't want to keep me in the hotel the extra day. This year we waited till Monday, but we came back early as fuck. I shouldn't have did that. I should have fucking booked like a midday flight. So next year we'll book the morning going, but we'll.
There's so
we'll
much
book the
going
midday
on
coming
Sunday,
back.
even wrapping up,
No,
it's like-
Monday. I mean,
Yeah.
like midday Monday flying back,
Yeah.
not Sunday morning. Like,
Yeah,
you know
fuck
what
that.
I'm saying. I have to be. The thing about Astro that's going to set a lot of things apart from it is they have the ability to have as many people in the building at 5 o'clock on Sunday as they do at 4 o'clock on Friday. And that's most cons Sunday afternoon. There are a fucking couple dozen people, man.
Yeah.
And your vendors are trying to just pawn shit off. They're making deals.
Yeah, start cutting
Astro-
prices.
Astro at the Astronomicon this year ended at 5 p.m. on Sunday. At 5:02, there were still 2 long fucking lines. One to buy mystery boxes, and one to make reservations for next year.
Oh my god!
You know what I'm
getting
saying?
Set up, yeah.
So like, it's fucking great, and that's why I'm trying to get involved in this other first year con that's going down. Is like, I learned a bunch about cons working at Astronomicon. Like, I would just being involved and talking to the people who were running shit, and you know what I mean. It's a fucking super duper fucking environment, and it's way different than any other con. I want to go to a couple of these other ones that I hear about. I heard Mad Monster Party is kind of dope.
Haven't been to that one. Been to Horror Hound.
Okay.
Horror Hound's
I've
dope.
never been to Days of the Dead. I've never been to any of that.
been to a
I've never
ton
been
of
to
them.
Walker Stalker Con. We went to Rhode Island Comic Con, and I was not happy.
Yeah, my
That
brother
place-
went there. He said it's busy.
Airport, man. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
Yes.
like an airport.
They bring some heavy hitters in
And
too.
it's like, yo, I mean, at base, you're spending money to spend money when you go to a convention.
oh yeah.
So I'm always looking at, okay, what else is going on? And Astronomicon has been one of those places where it's like real unique, some of the stuff that's going on. And it's stuff you want to go and participate in.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not just Michael Rooker is going to do an hour. Well, I don't want to fucking watch Michael Rooker do an hour in a giant room. Like,
Right. Yeah.
Let's mix it up. Let's see what else we can do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And like I said, this other con, they got some cool people I wouldn't mind talking to. I'll talk to the kid from fucking Who's the Boss? Little Danny
Danny.
Pitaro. is
Someone
gonna be
from the
there.
show just died. I heard on the radio up here. Maybe it was the one that Tony Danza gets with that owned the house.
Fucking.
I think maybe she died. They said someone just
Fucking
literally
Joan.
from the
Is
show.
her name Joan something? She looks like a Joan.
I don't know. There
In
was
the
that one
80s,
time she
in the
opens the
80s.
towel on him in the credits.
You're fucking killing me.
Oh my god! I remember that show,
Who's the
dude.
boss?
He shows up in the
Mona?
van with his daughter.
Was it Mona?
Oh, maybe was that her name?
She went on to be super famous. Fucking his daughter there on the show.
Oh yeah.
He was at Rhode Island Comic Con.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who ask me all the time. They're like, "Oh, when are you gonna have Twiztid on? When are you gonna interview Gmo Ski? When are you gonna?" Well, you know what I mean, like.
Right.
And yeah, okay, I liked sitting down with Tech. Cool. But the only reason you do that is because he's got a record coming out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Having Twiztid on my show don't help nobody but me. Yeah, people want to see it.
Right.
But in the grand scheme of things, there's nothing I can provide for them that they're not getting elsewhere. In terms of what this show kind of is and what this show kind of offers as a residual benefit of being on it. So I'm not worried about having them on or having G on or whatever. Because when this show gets to a level that they think they should be on it, they're going to let me know.
Right.
I'd much rather have people like you in here. And then like in a couple of weeks, I'm going to talk to Insane E. Because there are other gigantic parts to the fucking machine known as Magic Ninja Entertainment.
Oh man, all types of
that
people backstage.
People do not see.
Nope.
And I think it's important that people get to know the prop mics and the Insane E's and the Megan with the makeups. And I think it's important because not only are you guys providing large chunks to the overall Magic Ninja machine, whether it be through Astronomicon, through what you do, through what he does with the graphics, whatever it is, you all are getting your own in those lanes outside of the realm of Juggalo. And I think that's important for fucking people to see. That you don't have to, you can participate in our culture and in this culture and live this culture, but still embrace and be embraced by outside things that are involved in this culture. And I think that's important for motherfuckers to see. Plus, you guys need to get your fucking shine, too. Like, it's dope. Like people, oh, those fucking set pieces are dope. Somebody built those.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Somebody spent some hours, potentially hundreds of them,
Dude.
designing, fucking building, scrapping, rebuilding, changing after a fucking artist sees it and changes his fucking mind.
Had that. Yeah.
You know, we've all had that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I've had that on almost every fucking stage of this fucking
That
shit.
was that dude. The first 420 set. That's my very first set I ever did for him. I had a completely different concept for the pot leaf. Like,
Okay.
and then when I had it all drawn out on plywood, and I had all these holes marked for all the light bulbs because I have to stagger them a certain way. And since the leaf wasn't like, you know, like the same on each side, I had to figure out a whole pattern to it, and that took hours to do. George is like, "Can we do this version?" And I'm like, "We got 2 weeks till the show. Now I got to go all the way back and restart."
No, but you did it. And
I
you know
did
what
it.
I mean? If it wasn't impossible, you wouldn't fucking,
Right.
you wouldn't, you know what I mean? And it's always good to learn new shit. Has there been something that you've learned doing the stage props for Twiztid that you were able to translate into what you do with the Ghostbusters shit?
Not so much with that, I'd say, because you know, like a lot of the stuff I'm doing for Twiztid is like one-off. You know, it's experimenting, just building stuff. You know, and it's fun just to break away from doing Ghostbusters. I do so much Ghostbusters. You know, you gotta kind of break away every once in a while, do something, change it up. So you know, it opens up that little bit of doing something different. You know, and all the sets are, you know, a little different. Like one set I designed was the Mirror set.
Okay.
Now that was my idea. You know, I had heard that they were going to do, you know,
so much glass,
mirror,
bro.
Oh my god,
so
dude.
much glass. I was so nervous watching you motherfuckers move.
First out, it was plexiglass.
So much
it was
glass.
plexiglass, and that was all like double mirror tinted. Like we had to hand tint
Oh,
all of
okay.
that.
All right.
And I was coming off of doing Freak Show. I had 3
And
weeks.
it looked vintage. It looked,
Yeah.
it looked good. Like it looked really
Those infinity
fucking good.
mirrors going all the way around, the lights changing, and then Jamie and Paul inside the
Another one of them
double-sided
days
mirror.
where I was stuck in the other room for the majority of the
man,
show,
I missed
and then
it.
I ended up backstage watching the fight on an illegal stream with Lars.
Oh,
and
yeah, everyone was backstage watching the fight.
yelling, I'm screaming about fucking knock him out, McGregor.
Oh my god.
That I always said that would have been the perfect night to do Fatso Chainsmoker. You do Fatso Chainsmoker on the night of the super fight.
Right?
Yeah,
Oh. Yeah.
I still stick by that being like, that's probably my number one idea for somebody else's intellectual property. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we all sit around. Like I used to have visions of a fucking neck cutter video. Like I love the idea of directing music videos. I love it. Like if I could find a director of photography that like I could work with, because like I've worked with cameramen and that's different. Like I need like a DP, somebody I can talk to, and the DP can talk to the cameraman and achieve what I want, kind of shit. But I love the idea of directing music videos and making shit like that come to life. So like what you do appeals to me on a damn he builds the shits. Like he builds all the shits you need to make the cool shits. Like set pieces, especially in live performance, they can definitely take a mediocre act and make them phenomenal. But it can take a good or great act and make them a legend. George Clinton, Parliament Funkadelic. They've been bringing the same spaceship out on stage with them for fucking 40 years.
Oh, fuck.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and it lands, and they come out of it and shit. Like,
Hey man, if it works, you know, just
that's
keep going.
part
I guess.
of the Parliament Funkadelic. That's part of that P-Funk. Like, we're all aliens coming off the ship. You have Guar, who to me is not the best musically, but with all their stage props and,
It's something to experience,
like-
for real.
I see, you're obviously influenced by Ghostbusters, and whoever's doing the building for Guar is obviously influenced by that old Trauma.
Oh my god,
You
like
know
the
what I
troll
mean?
movie.
The Trauma fucking, like,
Toxic
blown
Crusader.
up, extra fucking latex for no reason, fucking explosive green diarrhea blood, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole different, like, lane, but it's the same sort of like production type stuff. That shit, like, I don't know. I'm just that shit interests me because I can't fucking do it. I'm done with like certain aspects of the music business. I think I'm done trying to host fucking rap shows because I can just go be a stand-up comedian and that's better.
Get yourself.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I did the Axe ones. I mean, I had a good time. I only did one of the Axe ones. The second Axe show. There was no place for me to even set up merch, so I was like, "Yo, fuck that." I was like, "Y'all can do that." Me and my chick went to Chipotle, because that's the thing. Like, people don't get with the hosting thing. I gotta be there the entire show.
Right.
Like, none of the fucking acts have to be there the entire show.
They can go
And then,
after
like,
they go on, they go home.
at Astronomicon this year, I really learned. I had the most microphone time of anyone the entire weekend.
Really?
Well, I was in that fucking room. If you look at the
I
schedule,
only saw you like 2 times there.
yeah, because I only got to go inside the actual floor twice.
God damn.
Because I was in the fucking panel room literally from fucking convention open till convention closed every day, hosting, interviewing people.
Like, they
you know
come in
what I
on
mean?
that South Park read. I think it was on Sunday.
Yo, like some things need to be worked on. I think some of the things we did in year one worked really well in year one, but then like we didn't try to like improve them at all, or some improvements were attempted, but not necessarily executed properly.
Okay.
So I think this year's script reads kind of fell flat in comparison to last year, honestly. And there were supposed to be some props involved, which there were, but none of this was explained.
That never was said to
no,
me.
like toys.
Right.
Like, because we did a Batman. So they had like a Batman mask. They had a bat signal, which is actually sitting over there on my fucking
I did see that.
bookshelf because somebody left it on the floor in the convention room.
I just assumed you were a super big Batman fan.
I like Batman. Everybody likes
I love
Batman. Who the fuck
Batman.
don't like Batman?
Right.
So I think
Something
that
wrong with you if you don't like Batman.
I just parts of it can be smoothed out, and it's just communication stuff, and it's the fact that they've got 2 guys.
Right.
running that whole thing, and it's like you kind of got to delegate, and they're not ready to do that yet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Once they hit to the size that they're ready to delegate, they'll delegate to those who hopefully have shown a aptitude for certain things. And I would love to just be like, well, here's the list of people that are willing to do panels, craft stuff, Chuck, because like they gave me the 3 from Hell panel,
Yeah.
but you couldn't call that.
They only
can't
had
say shit about it.
Right. They couldn't talk about it.
Yeah, like you should have called it something else. But whatever, it worked out. And that fucking panel went great. And it was standing room only. And as far as I'm concerned, that's my highlight reel right now.
Really?
That's the link I'm sending to the other cons trying to become a moderator.
Nice.
Because literally I had questions about the movie, but when it became clear to me they ain't going to answer shit, I had other questions too.
Okay.
And even George had said to me after the fact, he was like, I saw part of that. He goes, you were really good on your feet. I'm like, well, that's what I do. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's what this whole thing is to me.
Right.
You know. And then other people have told me. I mean, the Paranormal Activity people, they really enjoyed it. D. Snyder at the end was like, yo, I should take you on tour with me.
Really?
Because I had like a whole intro for him. But they brought in the guy, Meltdown, who's that DJ from WRIF in Detroit. He's like the #1 fucking metal DJ in Detroit.
Really?
This guy Meltdown, yeah.
Totally missed that.
He came in with D. Snyder because D's got a new record out. Well, thank God this guy came because I didn't know D. Snyder had a record out.
Was that the guy walking around with him with the ponytail?
Yeah.
Okay, I did meet that guy.
Meltdown's a nice dude.
Okay.
He's serious business, man. He's a serious FM.
He seemed like a really serious
heavy
dude.
metal DJ. Like that dude. Salute to my homeboy fucking Meltdown. I am honored to be able to say I've worked with him a couple of times. That's what a big deal that dude is to like metal music, rock music, and Detroit as like a city.
Really?
Like he's a huge fucking deal. So he comes in with D because they know each other. And they're talking about the new record. And I'm like, oh, because I don't know nothing about his new record. Like that's not my genre. I thought we were going to talk about old shit. Well, that's what all my questions were based on. So when Meltdown was done, I started asking him what I wanted to fucking ask him about this thing called the PMRC, where he was fighting against the album labeling in the 80s, and some other stuff. And then like he wrote a Christmas song that ended up getting picked up by Celine Dion, and it became the highest selling Christmas record of all time. And his house now, he calls it the house that Celine Dion built, because all the money that he made from that record, like
paid for that
yeah,
house.
he still makes his money every Christmas. So it was really fun. And then at the end, when they were getting ready to leave, I did the intro as like his outro, and like SMF #1 legend, one of the top metal vocalists of all time, Twiztid Sister's own D. Snyder, and he stopped and goes, "I should take you on tour with me." I was like, "Yeah, you should. I'm available, dog. I'll even work cheap in comparison to what you make."
Right? Oh my God, dude! Going back, I remember watching him. He was in the Pee Wee Herman movie.
Yeah, man. Like some of these people I've met, like meeting Jake the Snake. That was
Oh,
one.
Dude, he was tall.
Yo,
I
Jake,
didn't think he was
Jake
that
was
tall.
mad depressing. Mad, but like
I'm gonna say-
but in an inspiring way.
He looked a lot better than the kid from Terminator 2. All right.
That kid looks like he didn't even age. He just got stung by bees.
Oh my God.
I mean, shit.
He seemed cool. Like, I'm not hating on him.
I
he was
wanted
cool.
to talk to him and just be like, man, like what happened to you, fam? Like,
Yeah.
in '97, you were the coolest fucking dude
Yeah.
I ever seen in my life. Like,
He had
you
fucking
were-
Pet Cemetery
Yeah,
too.
you were fucking Punky Brewster. Like, get out of here,
Right?
dog. Like, what are you doing? And then now what? Now what?
Right? Exactly.
Same
Oh,
with
man.
well, Bam. I know Bam. Bam had an issue, I suppose.
Yeah.
I won't say no more on that front, but Bam had an issue. I know he fucking was sick or whatever you want to call it. What a piece of shit that dude is. But like I didn't even really I didn't meet him. Like I like doing the panel room because it's like I can talk to people like that Tim Jacobus dude. I got to sit there and like shoot the shit with him for a half hour in the panel room with an audience. You know what I
Nice.
mean? Like and like ask questions that I had come up with. Now I missed the window for Goosebumps books. I'm too old for that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's some stuff like I had never seen I still haven't seen Paranormal Activity.
Oh, I've never seen it.
But I did the panel and asked the right questions, and they were super
That's
when it
awesome.
was over.
You know nothing, and you're I got questions.
I know nothing about your movie, but I got questions.
Might as well be your first question right there. What's the fucking movie about?
The only way you could tell that Chuck didn't know anything about the movie was that he mispronounced the dude's name wrong.
Really?
At the beginning. Because I called him Micah, because that's how it's fucking spelt.
Yeah.
But his name's Mika, and he's like, oh, just like in the movie. And I'm like, oh.
Oh.
But the rest of the questions were fine.
Clearly I ain't seen the movie.
They were souped at the end and shit. What else? I mean, the Comic Book Men panel, even that went good. And that's cool for me because Ming from Comic Book Men is like a podcast OG.
Uh-huh.
Like him and Kevin Smith like they've been around longer than everybody.
Right.
Like there's no one that's been podcasting longer than them. And they have a podcast studio in New Jersey, which is only a couple hours from here. And it's like, oh shit, if I can book time and you guys will be my guests, I think I'll come down and broadcast from your spot. But you know what I'm saying? I like this. I like having just it at the crib, so this way I can have people come in. When people come to town, I can be like, "Yo, just come to the house.
Just come to the crib, dude. Gonna record."
And it's coming along. Like I'm glad that this wall's not blank anymore. Having just a blank white wall was bothering the shit out of me. So I actually,
especially if you got the camera here, you know, you want to make sure you got some fill in there.
So where do you have like a website that you take orders through?
Yeah, well, most of all my orders, because most people just come to me on Facebook and, you know, place their orders for the fully built packs. But I do have a website. It's called, name of the company is Karnivorous Creations.
Yeah.
That's Karnivorous with a K, by the way, to separate. There is apparently a man-eating Venus flytrap that they sell that's called that.
Really?
I didn't know this till after I came up with the name, but thank God I already went with the K. I was just trying to do it to have, you know, two different letters instead of CC. Just KC sounded better, I guess, when I was coming up with the name. I was sitting there working, stocking shelves at that point, and I was coming up with the company and, you know, getting ready to start making the proton packs, and that's when I came up with it in 2009.
See, you say that, and that automatically makes my brain go to something else that I want to see built kind of shit. You know what I mean? So, like, seriously, if you're out there and you're a fan of a movie or some other sort of fucking media and you want one of these fantastic replicas built, or it's something you got no idea where to start and you're a cosplayer, Karnivorous with a K, Creations with a C. .com,
brother.
I keep going back to seeing the ill fucking dog head in fucking George's office, and it's like,
oh yeah.
And now that I know Dan Aykroyd's got one, that shit's fine.
Yeah, dude, that was really cool to be able to build that for them. And you know, I knew they had one hanging in the office, but it was from the original mold, and you know, it was all deteriorating because it was made back when the movie came out. And it's made out of foam, so it's all just cracking away and stuff. So I was like, well, you know, I got the thing, and I was selling them, so they weren't stopping me. So I was just like, all right, hey, if you want one, you know. And they're like, hey, Dan actually was asking about one. So I was like,
really?
Okay.
That's so dumb.
So, you know, I made that, and they sent me a photo of it hanging in his office. So I'm like, hey, that's awesome.
See, I'm surprised you didn't get an email.
They told me I could send a poster and get it signed. That was all I asked for.
Well, no, what I mean is, like, I'm surprised you haven't gotten an email or a phone call from one of the two newer movies, because this seems like the type of thing that they would have, maybe they lost something or they needed something, and it seems like you are the leading expert.
I wouldn't say I'm the leading. There's a lot of people,
as far as recreation of the actual physical props that it seems like everybody's tending to go towards. Because you said that as far as those foam blowers, now
no one's ever done. No, correct.
Have you done? Okay, see, I don't know how this type of shit works. And that's kind of why I have hang-ups about certain things with my own biz. So there's a lot of shit with that foam sprayer that you had to come up with the idea for from scratch.
Yeah.
To make it fucking functional and all that shit.
Well, basically, what it does is it has like a handle in there, and you can have the sound effects going.
Okay.
So I had to come up with an idea on how that was going to work.
But it shoots foam, too.
No, not mine.
Okay, not yours?
No,
okay.
No, people have made it so it shoots like silly string out of the top and stuff, and there's a way to go about doing that, because we put sound in ours. I have the speaker in the front of the gun.
Okay,
That's
all
where
right.
the speaker is mounted. There's nowhere really good to mount it on. There's no good hiding spot. Like the Proton Pack, it's hollow on the inside, so I can, you know, mount that pretty much almost
Have
anywhere.
you ever had to create a mechanism or a switch or something that didn't exist before that maybe would be something you could get a patent for? That's my question.
I mean, no. Maybe with the most tasteless set, the way I had to design the mechanism
The
to
rotational?
make that work and to be able to run wires and mount everything on, because we used that in a music video too.
Really?
Yeah, we did
'Cause
that.
that's
Nothing to
something-
you.
That's something that I got into a couple weeks ago. I read an article and it was like, oh, you wouldn't believe what famous people hold U.S. patents.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking at it, it's like Spielberg has like 70 patents. And you think it would all be ILM shit. It would all be industrial light and magic fucking special effects shit. And a lot of it was. But then there's like, oh, he made an underwater camera rig that nobody else had made before. And he
It's
got a
probably
patent
it's
for it.
probably started out with his idea. He had the
Yeah.
people to pay to design it.
Well, no, but like even like James Cameron, that motherfucker created his own deep submersible submarine because he's
right.
a fucking rich asshole.
Oh, super rich.
Yeah, so he had to patent that.
He's only
got
got to make a movie every once or 10 years, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Jesus.
that's the thing you should probably be on the lookout for. Is damn, did I just fucking invent that?
Right.
Like clearly, I couldn't just purchase it, or I wouldn't be sitting here trying to invent it.
that's-
And I
that's
just
what-
invented it.
Like I said, like that was one of the things with that one particular one, and like I said, it had to be taken down and set up every night. So,
Oh, like I know the Wachowski brothers from The Matrix. The ring rig.
oh yeah, that was 100% custom.
Yeah, they had to. They got a patent for that because they're the first.
just to
one.
get Morpheus. Oh
Yeah,
no, not
that
Morpheus.
fucking-
Neo.
getting that
Ooh,
one shot. That was a lot of money for one shot.
Right. You're like, all right, let's do it again.
Yeah, but I like the fucking. I like the whole idea of like practical over digital, especially now, because practical, it's just making it look cleaner.
Well, you can definitely tell it's there. You know,
Yeah.
there's no substituting that. There's still like that fuzziness around the edges of the CG that, you know.
And now as like an actor, having something to act against. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'd much rather have a monster standing there.
Instead of pretending that there's a monster standing
I'm looking
next
at a
to you.
green ball, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, no, I wanna give me something.
Yeah, something standing
You
there
know?
at least. Yeah. Yeah, practicals for me is always the way to go.
I mean, that's why I think people are unhappy with this Child's Play thing that's coming up.
Oh, the new movie.
Is because he looks too digital in the face,
Oh,
and it's not a midget in a suit.
From what I'm hearing is, I think like the original movie company owns the rights to that name, and that's why there's differences in it. So you know those other Chucky movies that are coming out,
Yeah.
they're called Chucky now.
Yeah.
Like they own the rights to Chucky, and these people just own the rights to Child's Play.
I don't know. I just know maybe they should just stop trying to remake shit.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
now
think so,
hear
too.
Robert Englund's trying to dust off the glove and come back as Freddy.
Hey,
to-
if he
to
comes back, dude,
unfuck what they did.
They just got to do the prequel.
I've-
That's it.
no,
The prequel is
I've
what.
said it no, because no, I don't want to see what he did. I get that to maybe some degree it was implied that he was diddling kids. You can't just make Freddy Krueger a fucking diddler, and that's what they
That should
fucked
probably be
up.
the whole fucking movie.
That's what they fucked up. Was that they made him a diddler in that remake? They were
They cut
very
it.
blatant
Yeah.
about
Oh,
you
they
fuck
were.
kids. It's like no, to some degree, Freddy might have killed some kids, and it may have been lightly implied that he was a diddler. But in those original movies, he was a character to some degree you still could root for. If they just come out and be like, "Oh yeah, he kid fucker," you can't. Root
And they
for Freddy
did. They
no
did
more.
have that in original scenes. They cut that because at that
Yeah,
time there was
I mean-
there was a daycare or something that got caught for
I'm
child molestation,
Yeah, like no, that's too much.
and that's why they cut that. Overtone.
Freddy became a cool character. He wasn't a cool. He wouldn't have been a cool character as a kid.
I think he became more of a cool character in the third movie, though.
Because he got more lippy. The more, I mean, he had
The
almost no
one-liners,
lines in 1 and 2.
and then he had all
zero.
those crazy transformations. He's got the fucking needles for the hands and the gloves.
I always enjoyed fucking like that sort of shit, like those practical makeup effects like that. Fucking like even like a movie like Kill Bill That was all practical.
There was a lot with the blood spraying.
Yeah,
Yeah, all those people were all rigged up.
practical.
Dude, imagine having to clean up after that. All right, cut. Let's do it again.
So much bloody, and to go to black and white halfway through the scene because or he wouldn't have gotten an R rating and shit.
Oh my god.
Because the MPAA don't give a fuck if blood's any other color but red, they don't care.
Okay.
They don't count.
So just going black and white.
So
is
like,
not
what's
allowed
another
then.
good example? What's a movie that had a lot of like? Phantasm.
Yeah.
All that yellow blood in that movie.
Oh shit.
I saw a featurette about that too, with like how they built the ball and how they, like the ball was like it had a spring-loaded, fucking like point in it, and they had it against Homeboy's head on like a string, and when they yanked it away from his head,
they would
pop out,
Yeah.
and it would fly away, and then they would run the film in reverse.
So it looked
and
like
like
it went
even
into
shit
his
like
head.
that, I'm like, see, I'm not a filmmaker.
Right.
But so I don't know that. Like that doesn't even cross my mind to do that. I'm here trying to figure out how to throw this ball at you. You know what I mean?
Right. How am I gonna do that?
But that's why I love the featurette bullshit. I love the fucking behind the scenes. I love commentaries. Like that's one of my fucking guilty
I always love
pleasures.
watching commentaries.
My favorite one recently was Rob Zombie and the Lords of fucking Salem, where he spends like 3/4 of it apologizing. Where he's
Really?
like, this movie's fucking terrible. I'm so sorry.
My wife loves that
And
movie.
then there's like a scene in that movie with the fucking priests all jacking each other off. or
Oh,
whatever.
fuck. Totally.
He's like, I got no idea why I put this in this movie. I'm so sorry. Like he's so apologetic the whole movie.
Oh shit.
Oh, it's so good. There's another one. If you watch Apocalypse Now commentary with Dennis Hopper, he's never seen the movie. It's like clearly he's never, or when he saw it, he was coked out of his brain. He doesn't remember. And he's like, "Whoa, when were we there?" Like it's like a man discovering his own film for the first time.
How long after was
I don't know
this?
I don't know what's going on, but this shit's fantastic.
Dude, well, when was that movie filmed?
Like the 60s, man.
He
Like I
didn't
love
see
watching
that
commentaries, man. I love watching commentaries.
Did you know they didn't film the fucking commentary that long ago? So-
Sooner or later, that's the idea. Is I want to do audio for some audio, just content. Is like run a movie in here and just fucking talk shit. Like, there's been some fucking who was it that I just saw pop up on my radar that I was like, oh, that's somebody I'd love to meet, or like a reunion I'd love to fucking orchestrate. Roach from People Under the Stairs.
Oh yeah,
That
he had
kid
the cut off
popped up.
tongue.
He popped up like in my periphery being interviewed by somebody.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, you give me Ving Rhames, you give me him, and then the kid from Mighty Ducks, the kid that was in that movie. Those three.
Oh yeah,
Like a panel, and that's my People Under the Stairs panel. I'm fucking
That would be
good.
dope.
The girl from the house, the daughter, quote unquote,
Oh, yeah.
that chick, she's like super famous.
Really?
She was on a show called My So-Called Life.
Okay.
Do you ever heard of that show?
Yeah, I have.
She was like the bad kid on that show, right?
Okay.
But I guess when she turned like 18, she married a fucking duke of something, and now she's the Duchess of whatever the fuck in England, and like lives in a fucking castle. Because I was like, I wonder if we can get her. We typed her name in, and there's all these pictures of her getting like queened up by the queen and shit. Like, and I'm just like, guess we ain't getting
her.
you.
No,
Can't get you. You done priced your own shit out. I can't get you for the con.
Right.
But like he popped up in my periphery. That must have been a cool fucking set. Just with all the moving pieces. Like we were talking about the fucking the Nothing But Trouble.
Oh yeah, dude.
Set.
With having all of the roller coaster actually moving along, I wonder how much they spent just for the roller coaster.
Bone Stripper.
And then they had the whole teeth thing going inside of it.
Mr. Bone
Oh my
Stripper
God,
was
dude.
like.
Then the moving floor, and the judge rises up from the floor.
I didn't think, like, you watch those movies and you're like, all right, that's cool, and then you don't think about it. You're like, damn,
Yeah,
they
how
really
much
went
work
out and
went
got
into that, dude?
1 million fucking toasters.
Someone had to get paid to do all that shit too.
A lot
You
of people
know,
got paid.
a lot of people did. People loved working for Dan
Every time I
Aykroyd.
go to a set, I look around and go, welcome to the movie factory. There's all this work going on and all these people working for them to shoot this much of a fucking table.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, Yeah, it's a little crazy. Like, it's such Welcome to the Movie Factory shit, where it's like, oh, I see you have your script out. And they're trying to shoot it in such a way as you can't see the reflection of the script in the glass that he's sitting in front of. Because he ain't learned his lines.
Oh,
but he's famous. I'm not even going to drop his name. And it
not
ain't even
drop
who you
it.
would think. I'll drop it after, but I ain't going to drop it now. It ain't even who you think might think. Like, it's somebody who's considered an actor.
An
Like,
actor.
Like, had his shit out and was like reading it off the paper. And I'm like, damn, how much you getting for this? Because I know I'm only getting $122 for the day, and I know you're getting probably 100,000 times more than that, my dude.
You ain't even taking the time to learn the lines.
Like, fam, I get you got other shit going on, but fuck, like you got to learn 5 things, 5 sentences with pauses. Oh no, I think my end game involves like books on tape. Like, I'm gonna end up trying to do that guy's book for him. That's one of the things I've talked to him about. Is like, hey, do you have an audio version?
You read, yeah.
I'll read your audio version for you, and
People love audio versions.
if you give me credit. And then I'm gonna, once I saw that book, I was like, oh, I can fucking write 2 of these, because I got like, that book was super short. I'll put it that way, and I got at least that much on Navy shit just alone, like stories and like what I learned as a result of, I don't know, as a result of when I got entirely too loaded in Guatemala. Oh no, I'm sorry, when I got entirely too loaded in Panama, and I woke up in Guatemala. So technically, I got drunk in South America, and I woke up hungover in Central America, and I had never crossed a continent loaded before, and I had no clue, and then I didn't have the right papers to get back into Panama from where I was, and I was like, well, how'd I leave? Here's my military ID. I need to get back to where my ship is so I can go home, and like the shit like that, all the crazy shit I did overseas, and like,
I take it you made it back.
fuck, I could do fucking 10 chapters on Thailand being crazy sex land, and just all the crazy fucking shit I saw, fucking bitches blowing out candles with their pussies and shooting darts and making change, and just fucking mama-san, and like fucking the LRAD. Do you know what an LRAD is?
No.
The last time we went out to sea, we had this contraption with us that was called an LRAD. It's like, they still call it experimental, but we were using it routinely in 2006. It's like a big ass, not even big ass. I'll draw a picture of it. It looks like a searchlight. It's about the same size as a searchlight, right? And it looks like that. And this part's clear. And then it's metal. There's like a metal piece here. So if you're standing here, or you're standing here, it's silent to you. There's nothing.
Oh, is it one of those things that fucks with your
It's
hearing?
a direct energy weapon. It's a direct
I've seen.
sound
Okay.
weapon. So like our boat would be like, this is us, right? And here's our LRAD. And like a half mile away is like some suspected fucking whatevers, and we've boarded them, and then our guys leave, but they can't leave yet because we're still running their shit. We'll point that at them, and if you're on board that ship, you hear like Barney music at fucking the highest levels of sound you've ever heard in your life.
Really?
Like, it's fucking crazy.
Actual Barney music?
Like, we used to play Barney. They had a lot of like old 1940s like vaudevillian radio broadcasts,
right,
that we would just play on a loop. But like, we didn't even know what it was at first.
Really?
We just thought, like, we didn't know what it was. We were just like, they told us to point that shit at them. So it was pointed at them, and somebody else was running it. No, I know that.
Right.
But like, I've been some cool places, and I've seen some cool shit, and I've seen some funny ass shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm pretty sure I could probably write a halfway decent book.
Something interesting.
I want him to hook me up with the publisher, because the books are printed on demand, it looks like.
Really?
Because I got that book from Amazon. He sent it to me as a gift. And the printing date in the book was 2 days before I got it. So I think now Amazon's got books on lock in such a way where you can just upload a manuscript. And if somebody orders it, it prints. They have a machine that just prints the one book.
right there
and
on the
ships
spot.
it out. Yeah, and just ships it out.
God damn.
And if that's where fucking printing is at, as far as books, fuck, I'll self-publish a half a dozen.
It just makes its own books.
I'll start writing fucking Juggalo fan fiction and printing that shit. Fucking
right. God damn.
What's your dream build?
My dream build. Oof.
Is there something you got in the vault that like you're waiting for Twiztid to pull the trigger on?
Not right at the moment. I mean, that I can think of. You know, I mean, I worked all the awesome shows I really wanted to work, which was Most Tasteless, Freak Show, and Mirror Mirror. You know, like three of my favorite albums, especially. You know, I was a big fan. Started out with Most Tasteless when it was the era, and, you know, went on up. I guess Green Book could be cool. I got a couple ideas for that. If that even, you know, comes about, I have no clue.
See, with the con, this might open up a whole...
I've got some ideas for some con stuff.
Like,
Let's just talk about
like
that. You know what I'm saying?
Photo-op-related shit. Like, if certain people
did you
were to
see
come
the
through...
Batman and Robin photo op?
That was you?
I said, yeah.
Oh,
well,
all right.
Mike
See, that's what I
contacted me,
mean.
and they
Like,
were
that's
like, "Yo, you know,
fire.
we wanna do, you know, walking up, you know, the wall thing." And so, you know, I set the whole thing up. I had no clue how big the room was going to be.
Nobody posed for those pictures right
I
there.
did. I got two photos. I got one where I'm like laying on the brick, so I look like I've just fallen.
I look at some of those people and I'm like, man, you really posed for this picture awkwardly.
Yeah, dude. It was a photo that was meant to have like a little bit of fun
and people just didn't get what they were supposed to do.
We had strings on the back of the capes so that it looked like they were walking up the wall, because that's how they did it back then with Adam West and Burt Ward. You know, they just had fishing line attached to the backs of the capes, so it looked like they were walking up the wall.
I could see, like, you know, this is clearly further down the line, but you get somebody like Kurt Russell or Richard Dean Anderson, and they come to you and say, "Can you build us a Stargate?"
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we're gonna do a Stargate fucking photo op with a replica Stargate and whoever from either the TV show or the movie.
See, I think that's a cool thing right there, is doing
that's
these photo
what's
ops.
killing these cons.
I think
now.
right
these
now,
cons, the cons that are really fucking murdering it are like the ones like Mad Monster Party.
Yeah.
Fucking shouts to them. I don't even know who runs that motherfucker, but Megan turned me on to them. The fucking 8-bit Jason. That was like just their idea. Like, that's something that's exclusive to them.
Mm-hmm.
That shit's fire. Like, just anything where you get more than one person involved too, as long as there's
I've got some ideas for stuff like that, but I don't want to speak on
no,
those yet. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't want to spoil anything.
Nothing.
But
Let
I'm just saying, there's ideas I've come up with, and you know, maybe, hopefully, things like that will work out, and you know, maybe next year. Who knows? You know.
See, there's so much stuff we could do too. That's what my brain runs amok, where I'm like, you get Pinhead.
And I'm not just saying Astro either. I'm saying like other things
Yeah,
too. You
yeah,
know, like
no,
other cons, like all, like, you know, these. I think that's like the next evolution to the photo ops at conventions. You know, because you started out, you know, it's just them in the photo with the black curtain. Now it's, oh, let's get them in the costume, and now it's, you know, you got to bring the people back in again. You know, because they've already gotten the photo once. You know, or they've gotten it
you know,
twice.
and who knows? Like they're the evolution of this could be like, you know, full immersion, where it's like, okay, you get Kane. Yeah, at one point you have Kane.
Yeah.
And then you have Kane in costume. And then where do you go from that?
You go
Kane from that to Kane in costume
in a set.
In a set that's made up like the thing, and you get to be in a fucking sleeping bag that he's got retched up against a tree.
Right.
So you're the victim. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's where this could go.
And you can have more fun with it. It's not just a smile and cheese. You can be
the haunts
silly.
have stepped up.
Yeah.
This sort of thing can also step up, and it's almost like being able to bring that haunt situation on the road.
I think it'd be cool if you could even have those set up for people to just randomly go in that come dressed as Jason. You know what I'm saying? Where you've got these people that come in cosplaying. Oh, look,
they do a lot of that with the
thing.
green screen too. I mean, the Ghostbusters that were there this year.
Yeah, they do.
They took the place of another company that essentially was doing the same thing with just the green screen.
But again, we all know it's a green screen.
Yeah.
It's not practical.
No, it's not practical. But, shit, where was I going to go with that? I knew there was someplace I was going with that, and I fucking lost it. As somebody who's obviously looking at haunts and looking at that sort of thing, there's been a rise in the escape room, which to some degree could be considered a year-round haunt style thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's that sort of thing. You got any experience with that sort of a
I mean, I know what
situation?
they are. You know, I've been wanting to try one because I haven't had time to do it.
Because it looks like you could build.
But you could keep something like that open year round. Yes.
Yes.
I think there's one in Boston. They had one at the Art Institute out there where it was like a pyramid one, and that was back in like 2004 or 5. They had.
But there
one.
have been some horror-related ones. I know there was a Saw one.
Yes.
And I know that one was
actually I would have loved to have done that because that makes the most sense.
But that could even be something you could do at the cons.
Yes.
If you built one and you knew what dimensions you needed.
Some people have built them. We had one at the Rock and Shock one year. Yeah. And there was the dudes they had. It was like a shed.
Portable one.
Yeah, it was like a shed. You know, it wasn't anything super crazy.
Well, with your background, you could work up the gizmos and gadgets and like, oh, if you turn the clock to this, it's gonna pop off the wall. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm sure you could work out all that secret fucking, because that's all it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's all like
why
like
is this
find
notepad
the clue.
say 2:30 on it? Let me change the clock to say 2:30 and see what happens. And when they do that, a fucking hidden door goes boom,
boom. Right.
You know what I mean? And there's a key in there. You know what I mean? Because that's what that is.
Yeah, it's just like one clue leads you to the next thing, and then you get into that room and you go into another.
But that, I mean, I've seen those kind of rise and kind of to some degree, especially, I mean, Halloween around here, I saw a bunch of them rise up and they've become almost direct competition to the haunts.
Yeah.
Because you have
and some are haunt owners
story.
that, you know, they start those and then they're like, well, this is, you know, running year round. I know someone who tried doing the zombie, like, you know, laser tag in a sense.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? They
like
bought
the
these like special airsoft guns or whatever, and you know, you could shoot them, and it would their thing was like, oh, it temporarily freezes them. It doesn't like kill them, you know. So you could go through the thing and just be shooting those, and they never had guns at all.
See, I have a problem with some of where that's going because you have some of these places that have these headsets, and you're in a room that's just black with fucking black walls. But in that headset, they're projecting that VR world.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And like they've actually
they actually have a Ghostbuster one.
To do that with haunts, and it's like, no, you're fucking cheating.
Yeah,
like, that's worse than.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that with a
like.
hunt.
And I have a problem with the zombie thing because it's really it's hard to immerse in that. There's only been one time I've heard of it really being super immersive in London, and I wish it's one of the things I wish they would do here, and it kind of brings us back to something we were talking about earlier too, with the malls. All going out of business. We all have memories of Dawn of the Dead, motherfuckers at the mall.
Right.
Where are you going to go? We're going to go to the mall. So, fucking Dead Rising, games like that took place in a mall. They had a mall that was abandoned. They went through, they set it back up like a mall. They cast a bunch of zombies, like 100 or so. And they would have like 10 people, and there was a safe room. And you would go, okay, you have to go here and turn the power back on. And you have to go here and like try to get the phone to turn. You know what I mean?
Okay, like, so they gave you objectives
and it was
to do.
Mission based.
Okay,
it was like you were in there for hours and it was super immersive.
Now that's cool.
Airsoft guns and zombies would be stationed in places. And like
because you can't give zombies guns. It just makes no sense.
No, but like it also gave them.
Were they running zombies or walking?
See, I have a problem with fucking running zombies.
Oh, I love running zombies.
Okay, that's to me that's far more liable to happen, and that scares me.
So that scares you.
Yo, I got bad cardio, my dude. I got some bad
so you're
cardio.
telling me you don't want none of those like Dawn of the Dead remake style, like rabid zombies 28 weeks later?
I liked 28 weeks later better than 28 days later. I'll say that.
The sequel?
I like zombies. Oh, I fucking love zombies. One of my favorite people at the moment, and I actually met him as a result of Astronomicon the first year, is Eugene Clark from the Land of the Dead, Romero, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper film. He played the Big Daddy zombie.
Yeah.
But he's a real fucking awesome dude. He came out for the first con. I love zombies. I love all that shit. I liked World War Z until they fucked it up.
Oh man, they're still taking forever on the sequel.
It was hard to do. It was going to be hard to do that movie, and the fact they didn't do it the way they should have did it the first time.
Supposedly, from what I was hearing,
the book was awesome.
The way they're doing it in the new movie is that now the zombies aren't like something about the disease. It doesn't work anymore, and they can't camouflage themselves with the disease anymore.
See, the book was just like a war book, and what it was okay, the war was over, and we had essentially won, and they were doing like UN investigation on what happened during the war, and it was like different people coming and telling their different parts. So like there was a whole segment about there's like a battle, and the government decided they were going to put the battle on TV. And the fucking army got ran off. They got ran the fuck through by zombies.
Really?
Because the zombies had no fear of death and shit. Like there were things about the zombies that they weren't used to fighting.
Right.
And so they got fucking destroyed by the zombies like on TV and shit. And then they're talking. There's like a general, and he's like, "Well, you know, everybody here knows what really turned the tide in this whole thing, and that was fucking Private First Class, whoever the fuck his name was." And he's like, this fucking wily bastard takes his trench shovel and takes 2 trench shovels and joins them together and cut like ridges in opposite sides, creating a close-in weapon that the army ended up giving to all their soldiers called a decapitator. And it was like a thing where literally all you had to do was reach out and turn your wrist and you take a zombie's head off with it. And that's what turned the tide of the war. And like there's a whole thing about how they were like, we were hearing rumors that there were like teams of these fucking like privates running around with these fucking shovels racking up hundreds of kills in battle. And we had to see it for ourselves. And when we saw it, we immediately were like, how'd you come up with this? They were like, we were sick of seeing our friends get bit. And the minute they got close, we couldn't shoot them anymore. We don't have bayonets. So we needed something. And homeboy here hit one with his shovel and took his head off. So we were like,
And then he came up with
like,
this whole
they literally made like a double-handed, like it was like this long. There were diagrams of it in the book.
Okay.
And it was like this long, and it was a double-edged shovel with a shovel head on both sides. But the outer edge on both sides had like serrates cut into it, like teeth.
Okay.
And the middle was created as a way where when you turned your fist, the whole thing would whip. Like, it was so dope. Like, that was a whole part of it. And then there was a whole part about, like, how it started. And it was like, like, organ trade out of China. Like, they were taking zombie organs and fucking giving them to people. And, like...
Oh, fuck.
So, like, human trafficking, there would be zombies on, like, a giant tanker. And instead of, like, you know, disposing of them properly, they just throw them over the side. So they'd be at the bottom of the ocean. And they would, like, show up, like...
in another country
on the beach.
Yeah.
Like, they'd bite a tourist and it would start a whole deal. And then it explained like what the world was like after. That like certain cities had gone above, like, so like New York City was being changed, so all the first 4 floors of any building were vacant.
Okay.
And they could destroy the connection to the ground, and all the buildings had pathways above ground that they could also fucking cut.
Oh, shit.
You know what I mean? So, like, if something popped off on ground level, they could just remove themselves from ground level and still be all right.
Oh, wow.
Like, there were all sorts of, like, after... Because it wasn't gone. It was like they had just beaten the...
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, there was still zombies.
And what it was
lingering.
like, it was a combination of a bunch of shit, and, like, one of it was, like, winter.
Oh, really? Oh, that's right. Didn't they freeze?
Yeah, winter came, and all the zombies couldn't move no more, so they sent, like, teams of fucking guys out just to clear out zombies. They describe in the book, like, they talk to an astronaut who goes up to the International Space Station, like, a couple of days before the real shit pops off. And he ends up getting stuck up there. Yeah. Till, like, the very end. And he's describing seeing millions of zombies running in, like, a line across the middle of the United States, like planes. Like,
damn.
And he was like, it was like watching a buffalo stampede.
Damn.
And like, I was like, yo, if you put that in a fucking movie, I'm watching the shit out of it.
That'd be interesting.
But
I
like,
could see that.
That's the type of thing that I could see. Like, has anybody, all right, so like Gmo's into his replica weapons. Do you ever think about doing replica weapons of like, because...
For like different movies or something?
Yeah, like...
Yeah, I mean, I've got something I want to work on. I got Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I want to do the popcorn gun.
Yo, that'd be fire.
I just got this machine finished that I want to make, use it. And basically what it does is it makes basically like a giant piggy bank, a plastic one. And so I put put the mold in the machine. It spins it around like a crazy eight, like, you know, one of those human gyroscopes that you go inside and, you know, the space things, they spin you all different directions. So it spins the mold and just makes it hollow.
That's fire.
And then I can make the gun, because the gun's pretty big, so you don't want to make just this big solid thing. And then I can install stuff into it. I can make it actually shoot popcorn.
Does it look like that? There's a pin up there. I don't know if you can see it. You see that pin?
That's the smaller version of. That's a small gun.
Okay,
the
all
popcorn
right.
gun's about 3 feet long.
Yeah, but yeah, that pin came from Mr. Club, the guy who did the trophies for Astronomicon.
Okay.
That was one of the pins that came with the trophies. My
Really?
homeboy Justin won 2 fucking trophies. So he was like, "You want one of these pins?" I was like, "Yeah, I do. Give me that shit.
One of those pins
Give me that shit, fam."
Give me a trophy.
Well,
oh man.
yeah, man. I think we got a good show here, man.
I think we got something. That's cool.
I hope the heads continue to enjoy your work, whether they know it's coming from you or not. Which is one of the reasons.
7
I'm glad
years.
you
I
came
mean,
by.
fuck, I can't
Yeah, if you've
complain,
seen Twiztid live, you've enjoyed this motherfucker's work, and if you see him around, you should probably express your enjoyment. Because some of the, I swear, it would be super boring if it was just them standing in front of their fucking banner rapping, and they recognize that, and that's why they bring somebody like you in to help complete these stories and complete these presentations of this art that they've spent so long perfecting. You're out there, man. You're adding a significant
I'm just happy,
piece.
dude, to have my artwork on stage with them, because that's how I look at it. You know what I'm saying? And they like it a lot. So, you know, they keep using
Where
me.
can people see this Ghostheads joint? Is it on DVD?
That's on Netflix.
It's on Netflix?
It's on Netflix.
You got Netflix.
Ghostheads.
It's called Ghostheads. It's about Ghostbusters. Check him the fuck out and check out some of his work.
Yeah. Also
I
had an
appreciate you
associate
coming by, my
producer
dude.
spot on
Fucking,
that.
you're gonna keep hanging out for a minute, but I want to turn
Yeah.
this bitch off. So, I've been humbled and surprised by the sheer quality and caliber of the individuals that I've been able to get right here in the room with me during this year of 2019, and I hope it continues. I want to thank Mike, and I want to encourage all of you. Head on over to KarnivorousCreations.com. Check out Mike's extensive catalog of work. Check out what he's got for sale already if you're one of these ghost heads we talked about. And if you've got any ideas for a ultra-realistic prop that you want for your own collection, do not hesitate to hit him up and see what Karnivorous Creations can do for you. Until next time, heads, I don't want to keep y'all any longer. The beard has spoken. The Beard Speaks would like to thank our sponsors, Beard Love. Visit mybeardlove.com/beasthost and get 10% off on all the wonderful oils, washes, and balms available in a multitude of fragrances from Beard Love. Did you ever wish you could have a beard just like Chuck Reeves, the Beast Host? Well, you can. You just need time, you need laziness, a desire never to shave, and then, of course, you need some beard love. mybeardlove.com.